Welcome to the fantasy audiobook, Overlord for All, Recruit the Shadows and Become Invincible. Chapter 1. Welcome to War Continent, Closing Square Bracket. Here, you will have a fair chance to compete for hegemony. Closing Square Bracket. Everyone will randomly get a castle and an initial legion barracks to help you compete for resources and grow stronger. Closing Square Bracket. War Continent, there are thousands of races, opportunities and challenges coexist. Closing Square Bracket. In War Continent, you can get everything you want. Closing Square Bracket. Strength, power, man, woman, eternal life. Closing Square Bracket. You overlords, take the legions you have recruited and conquer this world. Closing Square Bracket. The majestic and loud announcement resounded throughout the sky and lasted for a long time. Li Yuan looked away from the gray sky, his eyes shining with excitement. 3 days ago, this voice appeared in the minds of everyone on Earth. It will randomly select 3 billion people on the Earth to enter this so-called War Continent reincarnation. Become an overlord, recruit troops, and fight for hegemony among all races. It's very dangerous, the voice said, the mortality rate is over 99%. Li Yuan didn't care because he was going to die. There was something growing in his brain, and the doctor said he could live for up to a month. If you reincarnate as War Continent, you can live again. He was indeed chosen. Li Yuan felt his reincarnated body without feeling any discomfort. It was as clear as ever. As he wished, he regained his health and seemed to be 18 years old again. It feels so good to be alive. Li Yuan sighed with emotion and began to look at where he was. He is now in a dilapidated old castle, and the surrounding area is shrouded in fog. In the mist, many dark trees can be vaguely seen. From time to time, there were several roars of wild beasts. The whole environment seemed quite depressing. At this time, a voice sounded again in Li Yuan's mind. From now on, your castle will be protected by a protective barrier for 7 days, preventing any attack from breaking through the invasion. Closing Square Bracket. After the protection period ends, the barrier will be automatically lifted, and your castle will be hit by a level 1 beast wave. Closing Square Bracket. The first level beast tide will attack all territories of War Continent. Closing Square Bracket. If the castle core crystal is destroyed, you and your castle will become the dust of the War Continent. Closing Square Bracket. Along with this voice, a milky white halo rippled, covering Li Yuan and his castle. Obviously, this is a protective barrier that can prevent any crisis within 7 days. But, only 7 days. After 7 days, the castle will usher in a first-level beast tide. Thinking of the 99% mortality rate, Li Yuan could not help but feel a strong sense of crisis in his heart. After finally resurrecting his life, he didn't want to report to hell so soon. Recruit troops. Only with soldiers will you have a chance. I don't know what kind of troops I will recruit, I hope I can do more. Li Yuan walked out of the castle quickly and saw the barracks located in the courtyard at a glance. It is said to be a military camp, but it is actually a building that looks like a small altar. The whole body is dark red, with 9 black diamond-shaped crystals suspended above it, emitting a faint black light. When Li Yuan looked at the black crystal, a virtual display board appeared in front of him. Black Shadow Crystal. A unique military battalion, containing 9 corps. Closing Square Bracket. 9 corps, Ghost Shadow Corps, Claw Shadow Corps, Giant Shadow Corps, Flying Shadow Corps, Helmet Shadow Corps, Soft Shadow Corps, Devouring Shadow Corps, Pincer Shadow Corps, Scythe Shadow Corps. Initial level. Level 1. Level 1 production capacity. 2 shadow soldiers can be bred every day. The types of soldiers are random. There is a 1 in 10,000 chance of recruiting a shadow general. Closing Square Bracket. Upgrade items. 100 energy stones, 1 origin crystal. Closing Square Bracket. Black Shadow Army. The unit I recruited turned out to be the Black Shadow Army. Li Yuan stared at the display board in front of him, especially the column for the 9 corps, with surprise written all over his face. How could he not be familiar with the Black Shadow Army? This was the military unit he had dreamed of obtaining when he was young. The soldiers of the Black Shadow Army are all from the Kingdom of Shadow and can turn into shadows and travel freely through the dark shadows. Under the leadership of the Black Shadow Soldier, the summoner can also travel through space. Any soldier of the Black Shadow Army has considerable strength and corresponding abilities. They are shadows themselves and do not need to eat or sleep. They are absolutely loyal to their summoner. And the most important point is that there is no death in Sombra Soldier. Even if he is killed on the spot, he can immediately resurrect from the shadows. The only flaw is that the Shadow Soldier has no language system, and only the 9 generals can speak. However, it doesn't matter. The other advantages more than make up for this flaw. Looking at the display board again, Li Yuan noticed the words, unique troop type. In other words, in War Continent, the only unit recruited by Li Yuan is the Black Shadow Army. Other overlords have no chance of recruiting the same troops. At this moment, the 9 diamond-shaped crystals above the barracks glowed and started to rotate slowly. At the same time, a prompt box appeared in front of Li Yuan's eyes. The barracks is fully charged. Would you like to recruit shadow soldiers immediately? Closing square bracket. Li Yuan did not hesitate and said immediately, recruit immediately. A strange war continent, a horrific mortality rate, and many unknown crises. The Black Shadow Army will be the foundation for him to settle down in War Continent. After a moment, the crystal above the barracks stopped rotating, and 2 shadows fell from it. Shadows moved on the ground, and 2 figures shrouded in black stepped out, with only a pair of scarlet eyes exposed. When the 2 shadow soldiers saw Li Yuan, they knelt down on the ground and lowered their heads to express their absolute surrender. Information about these 2 shadows also appeared in front of Li Yuan's eyes. Ghost Shadow Core Soldier. Strength level. Rank 3 can be improved by killing enemies. Loyalty. 100 care of. Growth limit. Sacred Domain. Tip. Soldier levels range from rank 9, Sacred Domain, Demigod, Divine Realm. Closing square bracket. 2 shadow soldiers, both from the Ghost Shadow Core. The strength is not too strong, starting at rank 3, but the upper limit of growth is Sacred Domain. This is just the Ghost Core. I believe that the growth limit of other soldiers will never be lower than that of the Sacred Domain. There are also 9 generals. The upper limit of their strength growth is probably at least the Divine Realm. The 9 Divine Realm Shadow Generals, plus the 9 Immortal and Endless Sacred Domain Legions, who can defeat this war continent. Thinking of this, Li Yuan's breathing became rapid. At this time, the information panel in front of Li Yuan flashed with light, and a row of dark gold buttons appeared. Personal information, my friends, private chat channel, world chat channel, trading square, and so on. Li Yuan reached out and clicked on the personal information button. Suddenly, all his current information appeared in front of his eyes. Overlord. Li Yuan. Strength. Level 0 can be improved by killing enemies by individuals and units. Territory level. Elementary Castle. Army. Black Shadow Army. Architecture. Warehouse, Black Shadow Barracks. Equipment. None yet. You have a chance to obtain it by killing enemies and capturing other territories by individuals and units. Energy Stone. None yet. You have a chance to obtain it by killing enemies and capturing other territories by individuals and units. Origin Crystal. None yet. There is a chance to obtain it by killing enemies by individuals and units and capturing other territories. Li Yuan's strength is level 0, and he is a normal and healthy ordinary person. But he can improve it by killing enemies by himself and the Black Shadow Army. However, it is obviously unrealistic for him to go out and kill enemies now. For the time being, he can only rely on the Black Shadow Army. Looking at the last few items, Li Yuan shook his head. Not to mention equipment, the Energy Stone and Origin Crystal alone are necessary items to upgrade the barracks. To obtain these things, in addition to killing the enemy, you also need to capture other territories. It is clear that everyone can grab, fight and kill. As a result, it is almost impossible to stay in bed. If you don't provoke other people, they will take the initiative to attack you and seize your territory and resources. It is conceivable that even if one survives the level 1 beast wave after 7 days, the next war continent will be bloody. There will be no peaceful coexistence, only life and death. To sum it up in one sentence, if you don't get stronger, you will only die. Li Yuan glanced at the 2 ghost soldiers who had already stood up and were guarding him, and felt a little more confident. Unfortunately, only 2 can be recruited now. Compared with the original endless summons, This is obviously a limitation for him, allowing him to start from a weak level and upgrade like other overlords. Otherwise, if Li Yuan can recruit Black Shadow Army unscrupulously at the beginning, how can others play? Fortunately, they can be recruited every day. With the subsequent upgrade of the territorial barracks, more will definitely be able to be summoned. When the number of Black Shadow soldiers reaches tens of thousands or millions, with their immortality, they will be completely unlimited explosive soldiers. After becoming familiar with his personal information, Li Yuan clicked on other buttons one after another. When I first reincarnated into War Continent, I definitely didn't have any friends or private chats. In the World Chat channel, messages are constantly being sent, one after another, almost without stopping. After all, 3 billion Earthlings came to War Continent. Because the message speed was too fast, Li Yuan clicked pause next to it, and then he could clearly see the message in the chat box. Boss, what is your military type? Are they strong? Don't mention it, I'm recruiting rank 1 slimes. I'm crying. The upper limit of growth is rank 3. I'm waiting to die. My pigeon orc. I feel like I can't afford it, and I will die the same. Haha, you guys are too miserable. My troop type is Night Elf, and the upper limit is Sacred Domain. The Night Elves are amazing. My uncle is a troll, just recruited, initial rank 3, upper limit demigod. Hey, I just saw someone recruiting a frost dragon. Why are your troops so awesome? We promised a fair fight for hegemony. Li Yuan was slightly stunned when he saw the word fairness. Actually, this is quite fair. The recruitment of each person's arms is random, but the strength of the recruited arms depends entirely on personal luck. Most of the other news was about complaining about his own unit, so Li Yuan didn't read much. Inside the exchange square, it was also completely blank. After roughly browsing these modules, Li Yuan set his sights outside the castle shrouded in fog. The protection period lasts for 7 days, and after 7 days, a level 1 beast wave will attack. This is obviously to allow overlords like them to become as strong as possible within these 7 days in order to cope with the coming tide of beasts. To become stronger, you cannot stay in a castle. You have to go out. There is no doubt that the outside is full of dangers, but there are resources only outside the castle. Li Yuan walked towards the gate of the castle courtyard, followed by 2 ghost figures. You guys go out and take a look. Li Yuan is now at level 0 and has no plans to leave the protective barrier for the time being. Instead, he asked the 2 ghosts to go out first to investigate the situation. The 2 ghost figures walked out of the milky white protective barrier without hesitation. As the 2 ghost figures walked out, the fog outside the castle was gradually dispelled, revealing the scene outside. Grass, rocks, and a wild jungle. Not far away, under the dense bushes, there were 3 black wild boars crouching in the haystack. The wild boar is quite large, weighing at least 300 to 400 kilograms, with needle-like hair and sharp tusks. As if sensing the appearance of the ghosts, the 3 wild boars instantly raised their heads and charged straight towards the 2 ghosts. A shuriken appeared in the hands of the 2 ghosts at the same time and shot out. PFF'd. PFF'd. The shuriken sank into the wild boar's head with incomparable accuracy. The 2 huge wild boars fell to the ground and rolled 7 or 8 meters, stopping at the feet of the ghost. Your unit killed the rank 1 wild boar and gained 5 points of energy. Closing square bracket. Your unit killed the rank 1 wild boar and gained 5 points of energy. Closing square bracket. There was also a wild boar that survived. The moment it saw its companion, it was instantly killed. It was so frightened that it fled back. A ghost figure disappeared in place, walked out from the shade of the tree in front of the wild boar's escape, jumped high, and hit the wild boar on the head with his fist. Boom! Amidst the loud noise, the wild boar fell to the ground and died. Your unit killed the rank 1 wild boar and gained 5 points of energy. Closing square bracket. Rank 3's ghost instantly killed the rank 1 wild boar. Li Yuan at the door was not too surprised. At this time, he was feeling that 3 more rays of power were coming out of his body, which seemed to be strengthening his body. Energy. Just when Black Shadow killed the wild boar, there was a reminder that he had obtained energy. Soon, Li Yuan understood. Killing enemies by individuals or units should be these energy sources that can improve Overlord strength and level. Not long after, the 2 ghost figures dragged the 3 wild boar carcasses back to the castle. Li Yuan looked at the wild boar carcass, and a prompt box suddenly appeared in front of his eyes. I found a beast carcass. Should I collect it? Closing square bracket. Li Yuan said without thinking. Collect it immediately. The collection of beast carcasses is successful. You harvest 10 units of wild boar meat, 4 wild boar tusks, a piece of wild boar skin, and an energy stone. Closing square bracket. The bodies of the 3 wild boars disappeared instantly. In its place was a pile of fresh boar meat, 4 white boar tusks and a piece of dried boar skin. There is also a gray-white stone about the size of a thumb, which should be the energy stone mentioned in the prompt. This is a good thing that can improve the level of the barracks. Li Yuan asked Guiying to send these things to the castle warehouse, and then said, "You continue to kill the beasts and bring back the corpses." The 2 ghostly figures disappeared into the castle without making a sound. For other types of soldiers, there are dangers outside the castle. If you don't pay attention, the soldiers may be killed by powerful monsters. Li Yuan is not worried about ghosts at all. The worst he can do is die and be reborn. Although there are only 2 ghosts, they cannot die. This is Li Yuan's advantage. The number of shadows he recruits will only increase, never decrease. A few minutes later, Li Yuan received prompts to obtain energy one after another, and his body became stronger little by little. During this period, the ghost will send beast corpses back regularly. Perhaps the level of the beasts around the castle was not high, and neither ghost had ever died. Time soon came to the afternoon. Li Yuan had just collected a wave of beast corpses brought back by ghosts, and a prompt box appeared in front of him. Your castle has not been named yet, please give yours a resounding name. Closing square bracket. This makes it difficult to give up my name. Li Yuan thought for a while and said, just Black Shadow Castle. As soon as the voice fell, the relevant information about the castle was displayed in front of Li Yuan. Castle name, Black Shadow Castle. Level, Junior Castle. Building, Black Shadow Crystal, Warehouse. Upgrade middle level castle items, 1000 units of stone, 2000 units of wood. Faction, none. Upgrading requires so much stone and wood, do we have to let Ghost Shadow chop wood and move stones? Li Yuan frowned and gave up the idea for the time being. This is only the first day. There is no need to rush to upgrade the castle. The focus must still be on the military units. Improve the strength of your troops or upgrade your barracks. The strength of the troops is the key, and upgrading the castle is just the icing on the cake. Soon Li Yuan discovered the camp column. Does this camp mean that the overlords can still form alliances in the future? Li Yuan thought about it for a while and left it alone if he couldn't figure it out. There will definitely be specific tips when the time comes. The ghost had left the castle again and went out to kill wild beasts. Li Yuan was free and couldn't help but open the world chat channel. In the chat box, just like before, messages were constantly bouncing. Li Yuan chose to pause without hesitation, otherwise he would really not be able to read the content of the message clearly. I'm going to die. The 2 goblins I recruited were eaten by a pack of giant wolves as soon as they left the castle. There is a tiger with wings outside my castle. Can you go back? I don't want to stay here anymore, woo 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 woo. Everyone, try not to leave the castle. We will consider recruiting more troops before we can. Friendly reminder, never go into the forest rashly, don't ask why, the lesson of blood and tears. Everyone should be kind to the soldiers. I scolded him a few times, but his loyalty dropped by 20%, and he almost hit me. It's too difficult. Between my 2 arms, one is dead and the other is crippled, and I only managed to kill a rabbit. Please, please ask, please ask. Stones are required to upgrade the castle. What should I do if there are no stones nearby? Seeing these chat contents, Li Yuan was extremely grateful that he had recruited the Black Shadow Army. The pile of food and items in the warehouse is the best reflection. Li Yuan turned off the world chat channel and clicked on the glowing trading square. Different from the previous blank space, the current trading square already has some purchase transaction information, most of which are food purchases. Overlords and soldiers generally need to eat. Overlord will starve to death if he doesn't eat. If the soldiers cannot eat, their loyalty to the Overlord will decrease. When it reaches a certain level, rebellion will occur. After half a day, the overlords have realized the importance of food. However, Li Yuan scanned around and found that most of them were asking for food, but not many people offered food in exchange. It's normal when you think about it. Now everyone recruits too few troops, only 2. The beasts outside the castle are not weak and are not easy to kill. You can imagine how difficult it is to obtain food. Food. Li Yuan thought of the pile of food in his warehouse. The ghost has been hunting for so long, and its food storage has reached 55 units. Black Shadow Army doesn't have to eat, he is the only one who eats. 1 unit is 1 kilogram, more than 100 kilograms of food, which can't be eaten in a month. And the ghost shadow is still hunting wild beasts. Li Yuan immediately began to study the rules of the trading square. He could exchange food for stone, wood, or even energy stone. Just now, he was thinking not to rush to upgrade the castle, but he wanted Ghost Shadow to concentrate on spawning monsters to improve his strength. But now, if they use food to trade, it will not affect the ghosts at all. The food is just a trophy when they spawn monsters. There is a chance to upgrade the castle. If you don't upgrade, you won't be able to upgrade. There is a reference to the relevant transaction value in the trading square's bylaws. 5 units of food can be traded for 1 energy stone. 1 unit of food can be traded for 10 units of wood and 5 units of stone. Of course, this is just a reference, Overlord can set its own price for items. Li Yuan searched for information on the few places offering food deals, and they were all at a premium. A recent successful transaction actually achieved a triple premium. Just 1 unit of food was exchanged for 30 units of wood. This is still just the beginning. Food is difficult to obtain, and wood and stone are not easy to come by. Otherwise, someone would be willing to trade at a 100-fold premium. The total amount of food in this transaction is 10 units. Obviously, no one can trade too much food. Looking at other purchase information, they all use wood or stone to purchase food. Compared with killing beasts to obtain food, it is much safer to collect wood and stones outside the castle. Li Yuan directly took out 50 units of food and quickly filled in the transaction information. Black Shadow Castle Lord asks for a deal. Closing square bracket. 1 unit of food is exchanged for 1 energy stone, or 50 units of wood, and 25 units of stone. Closing square bracket. Tradable food. 50 units. 5 times the premium. If it's 3 times, someone will replace it, and if it's 5 times, there's absolutely no need for someone to replace it. Anyway, there are a total of 3 billion people reincarnated in the war continent. If he hadn't been sure that no one could come up with hundreds or thousands of units of wood and stone, he would have dared to pay a premium of 10 times or 100 times. After filling in the transaction information, Li Yuan waited patiently. Sure enough, in less than 10 seconds, the prompt box indicating that the transaction was successful kept flashing in front of my eyes. You trade 1 unit of food and get 50 units of wood. Closing square bracket. You trade 1 unit of food and get 50 units of wood. Closing square bracket. You traded 1 unit of food and got 25 units of stone. Closing square bracket. You traded 1 unit of food and got 25 units of stone. Closing square bracket. Comma. With constant reminders, Li Yuan's 50 units of food were all robbed in just half a minute. In the warehouse, there are 1,500 units of wood and 500 units of stone. With 500 units of wood and 500 units of stone left, I can upgrade the middle-level castle. According to the progress of ghost spawning monsters, there will be another trade in a while. Maybe we can upgrade the castle before dark. Li Yuan grinned. He gained weight in one wave, and he got the stone and wood in his hands while lying down. At the same time, in the World Chat channel, the name of Li Yuan's Black Shadow Castle Lord suddenly became popular. What is the origin of this Black Shadow Castle Lord? 50 units of food are taken out right away. Your hands are too fast. Just as I was about to trade, you finished the trade. I'm curious about Black Shadow Boss's troop types and 50 units of food. Gee, how many beasts do you have to hunt to get this? Black Shadow Boss, is there any food? Black Shadow Boss, please show up. Please support me. I'm a cute girl. There is a lot of information about Li Yuan, but Li Yuan didn't read it at all, so naturally he didn't know. However, the friends bar was beeping non-stop. Li Yuan opened his eyes and glanced around. They were all here to ask for food. He directly set it to refuse any friends to add. At this stage, there is no need to add friends. Just then, two ghost figures returned to the castle dragging a bunch of beast corpses. Not just wild boars, but giant wolves, black dogs, and big snakes. Putting down the corpses of these beasts, the two ghosts left the castle again and continued to spawn monsters. Li Yuan stepped forward to collect and obtain 3 energy stones, 25 units of food, and some wolf-tooth snake skins. Suddenly, Li Yuan looked up and looked outside the castle. Just at that moment, he sensed 2 ghost figures, dying at the same time. Both ghosts are rank 3. With their elusive ability, even if they encounter a rank 4 beast, they may be able to escape unscathed. Beasts of rank 3 and below are no match for them at all. And now, 2 ghost figures were killed at the same time. This can only mean that they encountered high-level monsters, at least rank 5. However, it's not a big problem. Just after the ghost was killed, he was reborn and continued to kill other wild monsters. Ruthless killing machine. As the 2 ghosts worked hard to spawn monsters, the amount of energy Li Yuan obtained continued to increase, and it seemed that it had reached a critical value. An hour later, a golden stream of light fell on Li Yuan's head. Congratulations to you, Black Shadow Overlord, your personal level has been raised from level 0 to rank 1. Closing square bracket. Upgraded. Li Yuan felt that his strength increased tenfold, and he could kill a big buffalo with one punch. Of course, this strength is nothing. He saw it with his own eyes when the ghost shadow killed the wild boar. The wild boar is also rank 1, but if he were to kill the wild boar, he would definitely be the one to die. Leveling is one thing, but combat effectiveness is another. But this is just the beginning. Rank 1 is here, is rank 2 and rank 3 still far behind. Besides, he is the ruler of the castle, and the Black Shadow army is his greatest support. Not long after Li Yuan upgraded, 2 ghost figures once again dragged a long list of wild monsters back to the castle courtyard. The 2 ghosts have not been upgraded. After all, they are rank 3. The energy required for upgrading naturally consumes more energy than Li Yuan. After several collections, Li Yuan gained a lot. The number of energy stones has reached 12, and there are still 88 more that can be used to upgrade the barracks. Not to mention other items, the food amount once again reached 60 units. Li Yuan did not hesitate, reopened the trading square, and took out 50 units of food to exchange for stone and wood. With Li Yuan's lessons learned, more and more people started trading grains. However, the quantity is not large, basically 5 units and 10 units, and the supply is still in short supply. But those who can trade food are obviously randomly recruited powerful soldiers. Li Yuan didn't think it was anything. Anyway, in his heart, his Black Shadow army was invincible, and no other military unit could compare to the Black Shadow army. Faster than the first time, Li Yuan's transaction information was snatched up as soon as it was listed. In fact, this is indeed the case. Many overlords are standing guard in the trading square, waiting for someone to bring food to exchange. All the time it took to fill in the information, and 50 units were lost. Big brother who has food, quickly exchange it for food. I still have a lot of wood. My troops are so hungry that they don't even have the energy to go out. Please beg for food, please beg for food. Excuse me, I am recruiting 2 sheep. They haven't eaten for a day before coming here. Can I kill them and eat them? Barbecue lamb chops, you deserve it. By the way, haven't you noticed that the person who took out 50 units of food is the Shadow Overlord? It's horrifying to think about it. 100 units of food were traded. What kind of magical army did he recruit? Dragon, Behemoth, Titan, it doesn't matter what he recruits, as long as he is strong enough. I'm envious. Envy plus 103289423. Black Shadow Boss, please be a friend. Please be a friend. I've added it 10,000 times. Black Shadow Boss, my unit is a wooden man, we can cooperate for a long time. Stop howling and go to the exchange square quickly. Someone is bringing out food again. Here comes another tough guy. When Li Yuan exited the trading square, he also found an overlord offering food for trading. And the number is quite a lot, 60 units. The person who posted the transaction information was an angel overlord. Could it be that they are recruiting angels? Angels have always been called messengers of gods, or even gods themselves. If the opponent summoned an angel, that would explain why he was able to produce 60 units of food. But that's okay. 3 billion people on Earth are naturally lucky enough to recruit powerful troops. Li Yuan quickly exited the exchange square and headed to the warehouse. In the castle warehouse, there are once again 1,000 units of wood and 750 units of stone. Including the proceeds from the first transaction, Li Yuan owned a total of 2,500 units of wood and 1,250 units of stone. In terms of quantity, it fully meets the conditions for castle upgrade, and there is still more. Black Shadow Overlord, your castle has been upgraded with enough items. Would you like to upgrade it immediately? Closing square bracket. Upgrade now, Li Yuan blurted out. As soon as he finished speaking, an invisible force flowed from the void, and the old castle suddenly glowed with dazzling light. Half a minute passed and the light disappeared. The dilapidated castle no longer existed and was transformed into a taller and larger grand castle. Perhaps because of the name Black Shadow, the walls of the castle are dark gray, like a sleeping beast. Before Li Yuan had time to look further, information about his new castle appeared in front of his eyes. Castle name: Black Shadow Castle. Level: Middle Level Castle. Territorial scope: 500 meters in radius. Building: Black Shadow Crystal Warehouse. Upgrade high-level castle items: 5,000 units of stone, 15,000 units of wood. Faction: None. Reputation: 800. Tip 1. With the castle as the center, a radius of 500 meters is your territory, and all resources within your jurisdiction are yours. Closing square bracket. Tip 2. Your castle has unlocked the reputation achievement and has successfully attracted the attention of the local forces in Crimson Moon Forest. Closing square bracket. Compared with before, there are 2 more columns: territory range and reputation. There are prompts and explanations later, which are not difficult to understand. To put it bluntly, the territorial scope is his Li Yuan's territory. Any other creature that enters a radius of 500 meters is considered an invasion. Reputation is not important, what is important is local power. These local forces are the so-called Wanzu, right? For the local forces, these people who suddenly arrived on Earth are all invaders. And now, Li Yuan's castle has just been upgraded, and it has attracted the attention of unknown local forces. This is not good news. Fortunately, there is a protective barrier now, so there is no need to worry about local forces for the time being. All in all, you still have to improve the strength of your castle's troops as much as possible within these 7 days. As long as you are strong enough, you can solve all crises, whether it is other overlords, monsters in the wild, or local races. At the same time, Li Yuan also knew where he was for the first time. It's called Crimson Moon Forest. The 2 ghosts were not idle. They were tireless and went out to kill monsters again. No minute or second of the 7 days can be wasted. As soon as the ghost left, a prompt box appeared in front of Li Yuan's eyes. Your castle has been upgraded to middle level and has a chance to draw the divine ability skill. Do you want to draw it immediately? Closing square bracket. Seeing this prompt, Li Yuan was stunned and couldn't help but be overjoyed. The Black Shadow Army is strong and can protect him, but who doesn't want to become stronger themselves? Extract now. Congratulations to you, Shadow Overlord, you obtained the Dragon Talisman in this draw. Closing square bracket. The prompt box flickered for a moment, and a fiery red dragon flew out of the void and merged into Li Yuan's body silently. In an instant, Li Yuan absorbed this power. Feeling the fiery power surging within his body, Li Yuan couldn't help but feel ecstatic. I thought he could just recruit the Black Shadow Army, but I didn't expect that it came with a matching set and could extract 12 talismans. 12 talismans, each talisman represents a divine power of the 12 zodiac signs. Each charm has different magical and unique effects and can give the holder powerful power or ability. The Dragon Talisman is the most offensive talisman among the 12 talismans. By casting the Dragon Talisman, you can possess the pyrotechnic skill, which can spray hot and scorching flames to attack, and the explosion has huge destructive power. Li Yuan clenched his fist slightly, and a layer of fire suddenly filled his body. The hot breath distorted the surrounding air, which showed how high the temperature was. If this wasn't a castle, he would have tried the power of the pyroblast. There is no doubt that once he activates Pyroblast, he can definitely kill rank 1 beasts like Sombra. Rank 2, rank 3 beasts, maybe you can kill them too. Li Yuan could feel that he was still unable to use the full power of the Dragon Talisman, which seemed to be related to his own strength. In other words, as his strength increases, Pyroblast's attack power will continue to increase. The stronger he is, the stronger the Dragon Talisman becomes. Li Yuan took a deep breath, the firelight on his body was restrained, and a happy smile appeared on his face. Now, even if he leaves the castle, he still has some ability to protect himself. At first, Li Yuan didn't want to upgrade the castle level, but the unexpected gain from the castle upgrade gave him a new understanding of the matter. The barracks need to be upgraded, and the castle upgrade must not be left behind. Compared with the upgrade of the barracks, the upgrade of the castle is obviously much simpler. Upgrading the barracks requires energy stones, as well as origin crystals. You can collect energy stones by killing beasts, but the probability is not high. Currently, Li Yuan only has 12. As for origin crystal, Li Yuan has never seen what it looks like until now. But to upgrade the castle, currently you only need wood and stone, which Li Yuan can exchange with food. How about I go out and kill monsters too? Li Yuan rejected this idea as soon as it appeared. Now he still can't go out and take risks. After all, Guiying had just died once, and he was unfamiliar with the outside world. If he encountered a high-level beast, the gain would outweigh the loss. Don't aim too high, take your time. Time passed slowly as the two ghosts killed monsters, and in the blink of an eye it was already night, and night fell. It was said to be night, but in fact the whole world was filled with a strange blood-red light. The moon in the sky is silver, but when it falls on this forest, it turns blood-red. This may be the origin of the name Crimson Moon Forest. Crimson Moon Forest may contain big secrets. But this has little to do with Li Yuan. After all, he doesn't even dare to go out of the castle now. Big secrets often herald big horrors. Under the bloody light, the beasts in the forest roared more. Li Yuan stood at the gate of the castle and could see many black shadows moving in the blood, all of which were wild beasts looking for food at night. Compared to the day, the outside world is more dangerous at night. The vast majority of overlords will not let their troops go out to take risks at this time, and will choose to let their troops return to the castle to rest. And their troops also need to rest. However, Sombra Soldier is different. They themselves were born from the darkness and are the darlings of the night. In the dark night, their combat power can be doubled. Therefore, Li Yuan did not call them back to rest, but continued to hunt wild animals outside. However, the outside world at night is indeed more dangerous. Even though the two ghost figures have increased in strength in the dark night, messages of death are still coming. However, the overall efficiency of monster spawning is no worse than during the day. The reason is very simple. There are more high-level beasts and more low-level monsters at night. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Li Yuan sat on the steps of the castle, waiting for the ghost to return. Just as he yawned, he saw a ghostly figure appear at the door, dragging several beast corpses behind him. Li Yuan was shocked and hurriedly walked over. Suddenly, Li Yuan looked at the two ghost figures, and he found that the aura on the ghost figures seemed to have become stronger. Is it advanced? Li Yuan brought up the attribute panels of the two ghosts. As expected, the strength column changed from rank 3 to rank 4. Both ghosts have advanced, which is a good thing. This means that their monster spawning efficiency will be greatly enhanced. Moreover, 2 more shadow soldiers can be recruited tomorrow. 4 shadow soldiers will definitely be able to hunt more beasts. Thank you for your hard work, keep going. Although the two ghosts could not speak, Li Yuan still expressed his greetings to them. The ghosts turned and left in silence. Li Yuan didn't care and immediately started collecting the beast corpses. After a while, 67 units of food were piled up in the castle's warehouse again, and there were even more other items. Li Yuan was not in a hurry to trade. Even if this food was traded, it would not meet the requirements for upgrading the castle. Not long after, Li Yuan yawned again. His eyelids were clenching so hard that he couldn't hold on any longer. Forget it, go to bed first and talk about it when you get up tomorrow. So, Li Yuan first went to the warehouse to get a unit of food, and then went to the kitchen to make some food. I have been focusing on improving my strength all day long, and I haven't even had time to eat anything yet. The interior of the castle is very comprehensive and equipped with furniture. After simply eating something and taking a hot bath, Li Yuan fell on the soft big bed in the bedroom and fell asleep. And the two perpetual motion ghosts are still out there working tirelessly to harvest the lives of wild beasts. In the castle yard, the piles of beast carcasses were getting higher and higher. The next day, the warm sunshine came through the window and shone on Li Yuan's sleeping cheek. Li Yuan frowned and opened his eyes. After a moment of confusion, Li Yuan turned over, got up from the bed, and walked to the window. The tall pile of beast carcasses at the door is a feast for the eyes. A smile appeared on Li Yuan's lips, and the ghost image really did not disappoint him. After collecting these beast carcasses, the food must have been able to be exchanged for enough wood and stone to upgrade the castle. Li Yuan turned around and went to the bathroom to wash up before going downstairs. However, Li Yuan did not go to collect the beast carcass immediately, but went to the barracks Black Shadow Crystal. One night passed, and he was able to recruit new shadow soldiers. Black Shadow Crystal is just like yesterday, exuding a faint light and full of mystery. The barracks is fully charged. Would you like to recruit shadow soldiers immediately? Closing square bracket. Li Yuan immediately said, recruit. Suddenly, the 9 diamond-shaped crystals began to rotate slowly, and 2 shadows fell from them. The shadow flowed in front of Li Yuan, and 2 figures in black robes emerged from it. One of them is exactly the same as yesterday's ghost, coming from the ghost core among the 9 core. The other one is obviously different. This dark figure has a mask on his face. No, that's not a mask. Li Yuan took a closer look and realized that the black figure did not seem to be wearing a mask. But it's his head that looks like this. She has green hair hanging loosely on her shoulders, broad forehead, and pink skin all over her body. There are 2 golden horns on the top of the head. The eyes are the same as the ghost's, scarlet red. The overall appearance looks a bit ferocious, especially the mouth full of fangs. The black robe did not cover his head, and his hands were exposed, with pink skin and long, sharp nails. After he walked out of the shadows, he immediately knelt down on one knee in front of Li Yuan. Nia, meet my king. Li Yuan looked at him, his heart could be described as ecstatic. Ghost Shadow General, Nia. In the second recruitment, one of the 9 generals was directly recruited. He remembered clearly that the Black Shadow Crystal had a reminder that the chance of recruiting the 9 generals was only 1 in 10,000. After only 2 recruitments, we recruited general. No one is lucky. Get up. Li Yuan suppressed the excitement in his heart and asked Nia to get up. At the same time, Nia's information panel also appeared in front of his eyes. Ghost Shadow Corps General, Nia. Strength level. Rank 5 can be improved by killing enemies. Loyalty. 100 care of. Growth limit. Divine Realm. As expected, the growth limit of the 9 generals is the Divine Realm, and they will be comparable to gods in the future. And just recruited, it is the strength of rank 5. As for the other ghost, it's the same as yesterday's, just rank 3. Of course, those 2 ghosts have now been promoted to rank 4, slightly ahead. Just at this time, the 2 ghost figures came back dragging the beast's body, and Li Yuan called them over directly. When the 4 Nia faced Li Yuan, they all lowered their heads and did not dare to look at him. This was a sign of their absolute obedience to Li Yuan. Recruiting Nia was a complete surprise. Excited as he was, Li Yuan did not forget the business and looked directly at Nia. You lead them out to hunt wild monsters and investigate the specific situation around the castle. Let me know when you come back. I will obey my king's order. Nia didn't waste any time and immediately led the 3 ghost figures out of the castle. Li Yuan wants to get out of the castle, but everything is unknown outside, which is what worries him the most. The ghosts can get out, but they can only understand Li Yuan's orders, but cannot communicate effectively with Li Yuan. Now with talking Nia, this problem is solved. After looking at Nia and the others who had left, Li Yuan smiled and walked away towards the gate. There was a pile of beast carcasses waiting for him to collect. A few minutes later, Li Yuan collected all the beast carcasses, a very rich harvest. Including warehouse's original supplies, he now has 36 energy stones, and has accumulated 213 units of food. It can be seen how many beasts the two ghost figures hunted last night, and everything suddenly became a mess. What Li Yuan didn't know was that the two ghost figures encountered countless crises during the night and died hundreds of times. Exchange Square. Li Yuan directly placed 200 units of food based on yesterday's transaction price. As soon as the information was released, the World Chat channel exploded. What the hell, Black Shadow Boss is trading food again. 200 units, oh my god. Go and grab it. Go and grab it. I haven't eaten all day and night. I'm really curious, where did Black Shadow Boss get so much food? It's just dawn. Is he also killing monsters at night? There aren't many high-level beasts there at night. There is only one truth, and that is, the troops recruited by Black Shadow Boss are not only powerful, but can also fight at night. Invincible, I have nothing to say except envy. Please save some for me. I just typed a few words and 200 units are gone again. The World Chat channel is a blast, and the Exchange Square isn't too bad either. Li Yuan's 200 units of food were all traded out in bits and pieces after 1 minute. 200 units of food were exchanged for 6,500 units of wood and 1,750 units of stone. The castle was upgraded yesterday, and there are still 500 units of wood and 250 units of stone left. All in all, we are still nearly halfway to the high-level castle. It's not a big problem, 2 more waves will definitely be enough. Thanks to the dividends from the food deal, Li Yuan feels that he can eat again today. After today, everyone's demand for food should be less. With the increase in the number of soldiers, it will be relatively easier to hunt wild beasts. Unfortunately, no one traded energy stone from beginning to end. It's normal when you think about it. If you can go out and kill beasts to explode energy stone, you won't be short of food. Before Nia and the others came back, Li Yuan was free and opened the World Chat channel. After a day passed, he also wanted to see what other people were doing. Just when he was about to pause, Li Yuan suddenly realized that he seemed to have missed something yesterday. At the top of the chat channel, there is a pinned message. Announcement. Basic information about War Continent. Closing square bracket. Li Yuan's eyes twitched. He didn't bother to read the chat message, and immediately opened the announcement. There is a lot of content, and it took Li Yuan more than 10 minutes to read it. To sum up, War Continent is a world with infinite area. There are countless beasts and monsters all over the world, as well as many local kingdoms and empires. 3 billion people on Earth are scattered in the wilderness of War Continent, far away from the powerful local national forces to a certain extent. It is equivalent to giving them time to grow, at least they will not be destroyed as soon as they arrive. In addition, there is also a brief introduction to the troops recruited by Li Yuan and other overlords. There are many kinds of soldiers, including humans, humanoids, orcs, elves, dragon race, lich and so on. There are many, generally Western fantasy species. These units are either strong or weak, and 99% of overlords randomly recruit relatively poor units. Only a few lucky overlords can recruit powerful troops. Li Yuan's Black Shadow Army, if you really want to talk about it, may not necessarily be comparable to those Apex-level units. But the Black Shadow Army is better in other aspects. It is immortal and comes and goes without a trace. There is also a growth limit. Ordinary shadow soldiers are sacred domain, and the 9 generals are divine realm. As long as Li Yuan doesn't take the initiative to commit suicide, he will definitely have a place as the future overlord of War Continent. After watching for a while, Li Yuan looked up at the door. Nia, who had been gone for more than half an hour, had returned with 3 ghost figures. With the addition of Nia, a rank 5 master, and another ghost, the harvest this time is unprecedented. There weren't too many beast corpses, but they were all of a relatively high level. Either rank 3 or rank 4. Even Ghost Shadow General Nia was holding 2 rank 5 wild boars in his hands at this time. The fangs are half a meter long, and the body is like a hill. They all looked down on the weak beasts and ghosts, so they all went to kill the ones higher up. The higher the level of beasts, the more energy they obtain and the more supplies they provide to Li Yuan. The nearby rank 1 rank 2 beasts have almost been killed. Many of them were killed by the ghosts and fled this place. Since yesterday, most of the wild animals hunted by Ghost Shadow have been wild boars. Li Yuan guessed that there should be a wild boar nest near his castle. After Li Yuan's collection, this time's harvest reached 210 units of food, almost catching up with last night's harvest. In addition to food, 14 energy stones were collected. Mr. Li Yuan already has 50 energy stones, and he is still short of half of them to meet the barracks upgrade requirements. Of course, an origin crystal is also needed, but unfortunately this thing has never appeared. After Li Yuan collected the beast carcasses, he looked at Nia and asked, "How is the situation that you asked to inquire about?" "Report back to my king. The east and south of the castle are surrounded by forests. There are many powerful auras inside. The general will not dare to go deep. The north is a small plain. 3,000 meters away, there is a werewolf tribe on the deep slope. The west is a wetland with herds of wild boar. The others are all scattered beasts, not many in number." After listening to Nia's report, Li Yuan had a rough picture of the situation outside the castle. The forest Nia talks about should be Crimson Moon Forest. The name sounds dangerous, so Nia would be wise not to go deeper to investigate. Although you can be reborn after death, who wants to die if you can't die? The forest has always been a paradise for ferocious beasts. Maybe the tide of beasts that will attack his castle in 7 days will come from Crimson Moon Forest. At that time, the defense in the southeast and southeast will inevitably have to be strengthened. As for the werewolf tribe in the north, they should be the local forces that are interested in Black Shadow Castle. Being able to live close to Crimson Moon Forest, the strength is certainly not bad. The castle must continue to be upgraded and developed, which is also a threat. The wild boar nest in the west, this can be regarded as confirming Li Yuan's previous conjecture. Generally speaking, the biggest threat to him now is the Crimson Moon Forest, followed by the werewolf tribe. Boar dens and other stray beasts were relatively insignificant. Li Yuan thought for a while and asked, "What is the specific situation at the wild boar nest? What is their strength?" "There is a boar king, rank 5. Nia then added, "It is not a regular rank 5. Based on the general's perception, this wild boar king should have the strength of a rank 6. Hearing this, Li Yuan's eyes immediately narrowed. Rank 5 elite mini-boss. According to the general game rules, this kind of elite monster is very powerful, but it can explode good things. Touching his chin, Li Yuan asked, "Can you guys kill this wild boar king?" "The general will definitely bring the body of the wild boar king to my king." Nia bowed and gave an affirmative answer, quite confident. Li Yuan nodded and said thoughtfully, "Okay, then find an opportunity and kill it directly." "I will obey your orders." Nia responded with cupped fists, and then led the 3 ghost figures to sink into the ground and disappear. Li Yuan glanced to the west, wondering if this wild boar king would explode an origin crystal. Taking another look at Crimson Moon Forest, this place is the real trouble. As the castle is upgraded, his territory will continue to expand and spread to all directions, and Crimson Moon Forest is no exception. The castle couldn't be moved, so he had to face Crimson Moon Forest. There is also the werewolf tribe 3,000 meters to the north, which is an obstacle to the development of the territory and is also a challenge. It's still too weak to consider this. As long as I'm strong enough, it won't be a problem to be a werewolf or Crimson Moon Forest. Werewolf suppression serves as a watchdog, and Crimson Moon Forest serves as the backyard. Li Yuan secretly encouraged himself and was about to open the trading square to exchange for wood and stone when a loud noise came from outside the castle. The noise came from the west. It didn't take much to figure out that Nia and the others were breaking into the wild boar's nest. "You move really fast." Li Yuan smiled. With such an army of forbidden soldiers, there was no need to worry about the forest werewolves. The next moment, Li Yuan's smiling face froze. Just after the loud noise, all 3 ghost figures died except Nia General. "Wild Boar King, are you so strong?" Li Yuan muttered, walked quickly to the gate, and jumped onto the high courtyard wall. The sun is shining brightly today, there is not much fog, and we can see quite far away. Li Yuan could vaguely see a wild boar running and charging in the western wetland in the distance. There was a rumble and mud and water flew everywhere. In front of the group of wild boars were the 3 resurrected ghost figures, and the wild boars were chasing them. Among the wild boars, several are rank 5 and others are rank 3 and rank 4. If there are 4 or 5 of them, 3 ghosts can completely deal with them, but if there is a group, they can only kill while running away. Where's Nia? Li Yuan searched in the field of vision and saw Nia and the Wild Boar King confronting Nia in the other direction where the wild boars were colliding. Nia has a tall and majestic figure, standing 2 meters tall. The wild boar opposite him was even bigger and black, at least 3 or 4 meters high. Li Yuan looked around and understood immediately. Tune the tiger away from the mountain. The 3 ghost figures lured away the wild boar herd, and Nia dealt with the Wild Boar King alone. This was not a plan to lure the tiger away from the mountain. In fact, it is. The purpose of the 3 ghost figures was not to kill these wild boars, but to lure them away. Nia is a wise general who can think independently. The Wild Boar King has rank 6 combat power, so he didn't stupidly rush to fight. The group of wild boars acted like the guardians of the Wild Boar King. The Wild Boar King himself was strong, and with the group of wild boars, it was too difficult to kill. Just now, 3 ghost figures rushed into the wild boar den suicidally and lured away the wild boar herd. Can Nia kill the Wild Boar King? Li Yuan felt a little unsure. After all, Nia was only rank 5 now, while Wild Boar King was an elite rank 5. But soon, a smile appeared on Li Yuan's face. Because, the 3 ghost figures who had just lured away the wild boars came back through the shadows. And those wild boars are still thousands of miles away. On the wetland battlefield, Nia faced the Wild Boar King directly, with 3 ghosts surrounding him in other directions. The Wild Boar King dug his front hooves into the ground, spraying foul-smelling white gas from his mouth and nose, as if he was extremely angry. A quick victory, don't let my king wait too long. Nia coldly gave the order to attack. At the same time, the shadows in his hand gathered together and turned into a long silver knife, rushing towards the Wild Boar King first. The Wild Boar King did not sit back and wait for death. He also charged at Nia savagely. His 2 long tusks were like full moon scimitars and he went straight towards Nia. Boom! In the blink of an eye, Nia's long knife struck the wild boar, directly slashing the Wild Boar King away. With one blow, the judgment is made. He summoned the 3 ghosts back, but it wasn't that he was defeated by the Wild Boar King. He just doesn't want to waste time. Nia is rank 5, but he is a general and his growth limit is Divine Realm. To put it another way, he is a genius. As a genius, isn't it normal for him to suppress people of the same level and kill him beyond his level? Nia recalled the ghost shadow just to kill the Wild Boar King as quickly as possible. Otherwise, after struggling with the Wild Boar King for at most half an hour, he would be able to return to the castle with the Wild Boar King's body. It's just that half an hour is too long. Nia could feel Li Yuan's urgency to kill the Wild Boar King. He can't keep his king waiting. The Wild Boar King was chopped away with a knife, and his huge body rolled in the mud, splashing patches of muddy water. The 3 ghost figures did not watch the show, and kept flying kunai shurikens from their hands, flying towards the Wild Boar King in dense numbers. Ding 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 ding. It's a pity that the Wild Boar King has rough skin and thick flesh, so these hidden weapons hardly caused any harm to him. The ghosts were not stupid, they turned around and started attacking the Wild Boar King's eyes. Whoosh! Before the Wild Boar King rolled to a stop, a shuriken finally penetrated his right eye smoothly. In an instant, blood poured out, staining the Wild Boar King's head and fangs red. Ouch! The Wild Boar King regained his balance, shook his big head, and let out a shrill scream. In addition to one blind eye, there was also a half-meter-long wound on the Wild Boar King's shoulder blade, which was also dripping with blood. Nia's knife cut through the indestructible skin of the Wild Boar King. Hearing the howl of the Wild Boar King, the group of wild boars still looking for the ghost in the distance all stopped and ran back like crazy. They want to go back to protect the Wild Boar King. Nia didn't even look at it, and went straight towards the Wild Boar King again, the cold light of his broadsword shining brightly. The 3 ghost figures sank to the ground and emerged directly from the shadow under the Wild Boar King. Together, they pushed the Wild Boar King into the air. At this time, Nia's long knife also arrived. The sound of metal and steel exploded, and Nia swung his sword and landed on the head of the Wild Boar King. There was countless blood in the air, and the Wild Boar King's head suddenly sank, hitting the ground heavily with his head on the ground. Boom! The Wild Boar King made a big hole in the wetland, and his whole head sank into the soil. Fortunately, this is a wetland, otherwise the wild boar king's head would have been pushed into his stomach just this one time. The wild boar king struggled hard with its 4 short legs and finally pulled out its head. But at this moment, 2 ghost figures appeared next to its head, one on the left and one on the right, each thrusting out a long sword. Target: the eyes of the boar king. The weapons of Black Shadow and the others are all transformed into shadows and can be switched at will. The wild boar king's mind was still buzzing at this time. When it reacted, the 2 swords on the left and right had penetrated both of his eyes. Ouch! 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 The wild boar king kept howling, and his 2 fangs easily shattered the 2 ghost figures. 2 ghosts die in battle. But at this moment, Nia's figure flickered and disappeared, landing on the neck of the wild boar king. Death completely. With a cold drink, Nia held the knife with both hands and stabbed the wild boar king straight into the head. Poof! The long knife followed the previous wound and penetrated half of the wild boar king's head. Red and white substances sprayed out, splashing Nia's face. And the wild boar king's struggle ended here. The huge body fell to the ground with a crash, no longer breathing. The battle that was supposed to take half an hour only took less than 2 minutes with the cooperation of Nia and the 3 ghosts. For this, they only paid the price of 2 ghost figures dying in battle. It's just a ghost that can be reborn infinitely. Can this be considered a price? On the castle door wall, Li Yuan looked at it in a daze. After all, he is a wild boar king. If you knock him down just by going back and forth, it is too disrespectful to the pig. It can fight at close range, attack from a distance, and appear and disappear. This is ghosting. It's not that the wild boar king isn't strong, it's just that the ghosts are too powerful. Black Shadow Overlord, your unit killed the power elite wild boar king and gained 120 energy points. Closing square bracket. In an instant, golden light fell on Li Yuan. The energy points gained from killing the wild boar king allowed Li Yuan to be directly promoted from rank 1 to rank 2. This was to be expected. The wave of monsters Nia and his team had killed earlier had already pushed him to the top of rank 1. What Li Yuan cares about at this time is whether the origin crystal can be collected from the body of the wild boar king. On the other side, the ghost just recruited today has also been upgraded to rank 4, but Nia and the other 2 ghosts have not been able to upgrade. Nia jumped off the wild boar king and said to the ghost, "Send your prey to." Before he finished speaking, Nia raised his head and looked toward the castle. Li Yuan at the gate of the castle also raised his head at the same time, because it suddenly became dark. It's not really dark, it's still morning. Behind the castle, deep in the Crimson Moon Forest, a raptor flew out and was gliding over the castle. More than 20 meters in length and a wingspan of nearly 100 meters. The feathers all over its body glowed with a cold metallic luster, and there were long and black feathers on the top of its head, like a black crown. Underneath him were a pair of sharp golden claws, and his blue eyes seemed to be searching for something on the earth. Warcraft, Black-Crowned Golden Eagle. It is this black-crowned golden eagle that creates a scene that blocks out the sky and the sun. Rumble. When the raptor flew over the castle, the sound of the sonic boom fell into Li Yuan's ears, which shows how fast it was. Shocking. Extremely shocking. When Li Yuan looked at the black-crested golden eagle in the sky, its figure had already appeared above the wetland, circling and looking down. His blue eyes finally locked onto the mountain-like wild boar king. The next moment, the black-crowned golden eagle swooped down on the body of the wild boar king. Not good. Li Yuan's expression changed drastically. Nia, who was next to the body of the wild boar king, also had a solemn look on his face. He was no match for this golden eagle. This black-crowned golden eagle's target is the body of the wild boar king. Let's go through the shadow space. Seeing the black-crested golden eagle swooping down, Nia no longer hesitated, dragging the body of the wild boar king with 3 ghost figures and disappearing in an instant. The black-crowned golden eagle caught the opportunity and stopped in place, looking around with doubtful eyes. Where to go? Where were the fat pig and those little bugs that woke him up from his slumber? Could it be that those little bugs know space magic? You can run fast. The black-crested golden eagle didn't want to think too much, spread its wings and flew towards the trembling wild boars not far away. Under the pressure of the black-crowned golden eagle, the group of wild boars lay on the ground and did not dare to move. Let the black-crested golden eagle peck one end at a time, just like eating small shrimps. In the castle, Nia and the three ghosts have returned through the shadow shuttle. The body of the wild boar king was also in the yard. But Li Yuan still didn't come down from the courtyard wall, staring at the black-crested golden eagle eating the wild boar. Rank 5 and below can only become ferocious beast monsters. Only those with rank 6 and above can be called warcraft, and they will have intelligence that is not inferior to humans. So is this black-crested golden eagle rank 7, rank 8, rank 9, or sacred domain? Li Yuan looked back at Crimson Moon Forest and swallowed subconsciously. Can Crimson Moon Forest really become his back garden? The black-crowned golden eagle is very strong and can definitely crush the current Nia. Even through the protective barrier of the castle, Li Yuan could feel the overwhelming power of the black-crowned golden eagle. Sacred domain. Most likely it's the sacred domain monster. Even if it's not a sacred domain, it's at least a rank 9 apex level monster. The black-crowned golden eagle flies out from the depths of Crimson Moon Forest. Is it the king of Crimson Moon Forest? Are there such powerful monsters in Crimson Moon Forest? Are there any stronger monsters? Thinking of this, Li Yuan felt quite heavy. He knew that there were many dangers hidden in Crimson Moon Forest, but the appearance of the black-crowned golden eagle made him feel the crisis intuitively. A sacred domain monster was staying behind his castle, which made him feel at ease. My scalp goes numb just thinking about it. The castle's protection period is only 7 days. No, there are only 6 days left. Will he be able to sleep after the 6-day protection period has passed? Li Yuan jumped off the courtyard wall with a sullen face, walked a few steps, and finally his eyes fell on Nia. It's not that there is no hope. As long as Nia can advance in the remaining 6 days and become a sacred domain. Saint ranks Nia's combat power is by no means inferior to that of the black-crowned golden eagle. Li Yuan looked at Nia and said solemnly, "From now on, you will only do one thing, kill monsters and improve your strength at all costs. As for whether Nia can break through to the sacred domain in these 6 days, how will you know if you don't try? It's best if you can break through. If you can't break through, think of other ways." Waiting to die obediently is not his Li Yuan style. The general has this intention. Nia nodded seriously and said, "The general's strength is indeed too weak to protect my king." As soon as he finished speaking, Nia led the 3 ghost figures into the ground. Li Yuan looked up at the wetland. The black-crowned golden eagle had eaten up all the wild boars and flew back into the air. The black-crowned golden eagle is circling around, as if patrolling its territory. In Li Yuan's castle, the black-crested golden eagle also cast its gaze, but did not come close, as if it was afraid of something. Obviously, it is the castle's protective barrier that prevents the black-crowned golden eagle from coming. However, Li Yuan did not notice this. He was already collecting the body of the wild boar king. The ghosts must become stronger, the castle must become stronger, and he must become stronger too. Compared to yesterday, the crisis brought about by the black-crowned golden eagle today made his strong belief far stronger than that of the first-level beast tide. It's nonsense that all races compete for hegemony. Only by surviving can you be qualified. The primary purpose now is to survive. Collection is successful. You harvest 100 units of wild boar, 1 elite wild boar tooth, 10 energy stones, and 1 origin crystal. Closing square bracket. This time you killed the beast as an elite, and you harvested 50 units of elite wild boar meat. Closing square bracket. Seeing the collected items, Li Yuan finally showed a smile. This wild boar king really exploded with the origin crystal. There are also 10 energy stones. After all calculation, he only needed 40 energy stones to upgrade the black shadow crystal. There are a total of 360 units of food. If replaced by stone and wood, it is enough to upgrade Black Shadow Castle to a high-level castle. What's the difference between elite wild boar and ordinary wild boar? Li Yuan thought for a while and went directly to the kitchen with a unit of elite wild boar meat. After a while, Li Yuan was eating grilled pork chops, and at the same time he also understood the effectiveness of elite wild boar meat. Elite wild boar meat can provide energy. 1 unit of elite boar provides 2 energy points. The energy points provided are not many, but they are also the hidden properties of elite-level food, which can improve strength and strengthen the body. Li Yuan kept a little of the elite wild boar meat and threw everything else into the trading square. This time Li Yuan did not put them together, but placed them separately for trading. 160 units of food are traded for wood, and 150 units of food are traded for stone. The price remains unchanged, still 5 times the premium. 40 units of elite boar are exchanged for 1 unit of elite boar for 1 energy stone. Of course, Li Yuan marked the attributes of elite wild boar in bold and red. No one was willing to take out the energy stone in exchange for a unit of ordinary food. I wonder if I can get elite level food now. If someone is willing to take it out and replace all 40 units, his barracks can be upgraded. Soon, ordinary food began to be exchanged. But this time the speed is much slower than before. Several minutes passed, and only a small part of the normal food was replaced. Li Yuan couldn't help but open the trading channel again, and after a quick look, he discovered the problem. Perhaps seeing the profits from Li Yuan's food trade, many powerful overlords began to hunt monsters to put on the food trade. Moreover, the prices given are relatively low, with double and triple premiums. There is also an overlord that Li Yuan has an impression of, that is, the Angel Overlord, which is the standard price. Also, today is the second day, and everyone has recruited more troops, making it relatively less difficult to obtain food. But Li Yuan did not change the price, and now the price is still too much. You don't have to worry about selling the food, it just takes a little more time. On the other hand, no one is paying attention to the elite wild boar meat yet. After all, it involves energy stone, so it is normal. Li Yuan didn't care too much, he was just trying his luck. But what Li Yuan didn't know was that his elite wild boar meat had already caused a stir on the world channel. Elite monster. Brothers, someone killed the elite monster. Is that a beast like rank 5? No way, it's only the second day. How is it possible? Who killed him? My unit has just been upgraded to rank 2. Are you telling me that someone killed a rank 5 elite monster? Axie, it's Black Shadow Boss, it's Black Shadow Boss again. Who is this Shadow Overlord? He traded hundreds of units of food, right? And now he's killing elite monsters. Shouldn't your focus be on the attributes of this elite wild boar meat? Provide energy points. Shit, you should look at the price, an energy stone. The chickens are so expensive. My troops worked so hard to get 2 energy stones. I can't afford them. Someone bought it, someone bought it. On the other side, Li Yuan also received information that elite wild boar meat was being traded. Not much, 1 unit at a time. Fortunately, they are being traded one after another, and it seems that they can all be exchanged. While Li Yuan was waiting for the transaction to be completed, there was a huge plain area hundreds of thousands of miles away from Crimson Moon Forest. A fair-skinned and beautiful woman in her 20s was floating in the sky calmly. In front, several half-human-sized angels were hunting several giant gray wolves. On the woman's back, there are 2 wings with white feathers, giving her the ability to fly. Her name is Yi Shui, and the soldier she recruits is an angel. In the trading square, she is the one who trades food at standard prices. The wings on Yi Shui's back are the divine ability skills extracted from her angel castle. Looking at the contents of the world chat channel, Yi Shui's pretty face was shocked. He actually killed an elite monster. The troop type Yi Shui recruited was an angel, which was also the only troop type. War continent, only she can recruit angels. As for the angels she recruited, they were all rank 3 at the end, and their maximum growth limit was demigod. An angel recruited this morning is a rank 4 archangel, with a maximum limit of divine realm. In Yi Shui's opinion, even if she is not the strongest among the overlords, she is definitely an apex-level existence among the apex-level troops. Logically speaking, she should be at the forefront of all the overlords. When night fell yesterday, her angel castle had been upgraded to middle level. He even gained the divine ability skill after upgrading. Li Yuan brought out a lot of food at the exchange square, but Yi Shui didn't take it too seriously, even though Li Yuan might have upgraded the middle-level castle. He is just a profiteer and speculator, which does not represent any real strength. Maybe it's because Li Yuan's unit is extremely good at hunting low-level beasts, or maybe there are a lot of low-level beasts on his side that are easy to kill. Everyone needs food now, but only for a few days. It only takes a while for Li Yuan to reveal his true colors, let alone nothing. But now, this Shadow Overlord actually took out the elite wild boar meat in the exchange square to exchange for it. The elite mini-boss is a beast that surpasses rank 5. In terms of strength, he has already reached the threshold of Warcraft, and his combat power is comparable to rank 6. There is also an elite wolf king near Yishui Castle. After recruiting new angels today, she took 4 angels to fight the wolf king. The result is self-evident. He is clearly no match for the opponent, and the 4 angels were seriously injured. In order to preserve her strength and prevent Angel from being injured, Yishui decisively chose to retreat. Both are elite beasts, and the Boar King killed by the Black Shadow Overlord must be comparable in strength to the Wolf King on his side. The Black Shadow Overlord can kill the Wild Boar King. Doesn't it mean that the comprehensive combat power of his arms has reached rank 6? What kind of army did he recruit? Yishui was puzzled. In this world of Shiwanfang, what kind of soldiers could be stronger than angels? In her military description, angels are messengers of the Supreme God. Looking at Li Yuan's exchange of elite wild boar for energy stone, this guy must be preparing to upgrade the high-level castle. Cheryl, kill monsters with all your strength, increase your strength to kill the Wolf King. Yishui flapped her wings unconvinced and took the initiative to surround and kill those giant gray wolves. Lord, danger! The 4-winged angel named Cheryl was shocked and hurriedly stepped forward to protect Yishui. Yishui stretched out her hand and said expressionlessly, "Give me the weapon." Lord, I can't let you take risks. Cheryl shook her head. Yishui said coldly, "I said, give me weapons." With a look of helplessness on her face, Cheryl waved her hand and took out a silver longbow, and handed it to Yishui respectfully. At the same time, as she muttered words, a set of snow-white armor instantly appeared on Yishui's body, protecting her. Yishui held a bow in one hand, her almond-shaped eyes full of killing intent. Don't worry about me, go kill the monsters. Today, my angel castle will also upgrade to the high-level castle. Except for Yishui, the angel's castle, the overlords recruited to apex-level units in other places in War Continent were all stimulated by Li Yuan. Everyone frantically started killing monsters to level up, no one wanted to be left behind. Black Shadow Castle, Li Yuan has no interest in the chat channel and is completely unaware of the turmoil caused by elite wild boar. Outside, under the leadership of Nia, several ghosts were frantically killing wild monsters. There were constant reminders of energy points coming from Li Yuan's side, and they were increasing by several points. He said no matter what the cost, Nia really didn't care about anything. Nia even led the ghosts into the outskirts of Crimson Moon Forest several times to kill more and stronger beasts inside. For a time, chickens and dogs were jumping outside the castle, and the roars of beasts were endless. As for the black-crested golden eagle, it has long since disappeared. I don't know whether it returned to the depths of Crimson Moon Forest or went to other places. However, while harvesting energy points, the ghosts died more and more often. Even Nia, the ghost shadow general, died several times, undoubtedly carrying out Li Yuan's orders to the extreme. The effect was remarkable. After 50 minutes, Li Yuan approached the peak of rank 2. The 3 ghosts have also reached the peak of rank 4, Nia's aura has also become much stronger, and the promotion of all members is not far away. At this time, all the ordinary food that Li Yuan hung in the trading square had been replaced. At this point, the items required for upgrading the high-level castle have been met. Black Shadow Overlord, your castle has been upgraded with enough items. Would you like to upgrade it immediately? Closing square bracket. Upgrade now. Li Yuan replied without hesitation. In an instant, stars scattered in the sky, covering the entire castle. In the blink of an eye, the original castle disappeared and was replaced by a more majestic and tall castle. The main castle is more than 20 meters high and divided into 6 floors. There are 2 3-story auxiliary forts on the left and right, guarding the main fort in the middle. Black Shadow Crystal is no longer in the courtyard, but appears in the lobby of the main castle, and its appearance has not changed much. At the top of the main castle, a fist-sized crystal core appeared. This crystal core exuded gray-white energy, forming another protective layer under the protective barrier. Just as Li Yuan was wondering, the castle's information panel appeared in front of him. Castle name: Black Shadow Castle. Castle level: high-level castle. Castle core crystal. Rank 6 defense. Territorial scope: 1,500 meters in radius. Building: Black Shadow Crystal, Warehouse. Upgrade town items. 50,000 units of stone, 100,000 units of wood, 10,000 units of iron essence. Faction. None. Reputation. 1800. Hint 1. The nuclear crystal is destroyed and the castle is destroyed. Your current core crystal can withstand rank 6 power. Closing square bracket. Tip 2. As your reputation increases exponentially, the local forces of Crimson Moon Forest are very likely to attack your castle. Closing square bracket. The new protective cover above the castle is obviously the effect of the extra nuclear crystals. According to the prompts, this layer of protective cover should be able to withstand attacks of rank 6 or below. It is the self-defense of the castle and is not very strong. Don't worry these days, after all, you still have a few more days of invincible protection. What deserves Li Yuan's attention is that local forces may launch an attack on Black Shadow Castle. Maybe the local forces will attack before the beast wave comes. The currently known local forces are the werewolf tribe discovered by Nia. They are the closest to the castle territory, only 3,000 meters away. No, there are only 2,000 meters left now. Later, you can ask Nia to go over and inquire about the other party's strength. If the opponent doesn't even have rank 6 combat power, then there's nothing to worry about and just kill it to avoid future troubles. But if you have rank 6 or above combat power, you have to think of other ways. As for the castle upgrading the town, Li Yuan frowned. Not to mention that the demand for stone and wood has increased dozens of times, there is also a need for 10,000 units of iron essence. He hasn't seen Tai Jing yet, maybe he has to kill a monster to get one. Li Yuan thought for a while, shook his head and sighed. It is a bit unrealistic to quickly upgrade the town. But it is conceivable that having so much supplies to upgrade the town will be a key point to widen the gap with other overlords. It doesn't matter, you can also upgrade the barracks. Li Yuan opened the trading square and took a look. Unfortunately, the transaction of elite wild boar meat had not been completed yet, and there were still 20 units left. After all, there are only a few people who are willing to take out the energy stone in exchange. There are still 11 more to go, it's almost there. The Killings Nia and the others had just brought in 8 energy stones. At this moment, a prompt box popped up in Li Yuan's field of vision again. Your castle has been upgraded to high level and has a chance to draw the divine ability skill. Do you want to draw it immediately? Closing square bracket. Li Yuan laughed immediately, and he almost forgot about it. Yesterday I drew the dragon talisman among the 12 talismans. I wonder if I will draw another talisman this time, or something else. Chapter 11. Congratulations to you, Black Shadow Overlord, you obtained the thunder and lightning magic energy in this draw. Closing square bracket. Li Yuan was a little surprised when he saw the prompt. It's really not a talisman, but the thunder and lightning demonic energy, one of the 8 great demonic energies. Li Yuan is no stranger to the 8 great demon chi. Like the 12 talismans Black Shadow Army, they all come from the same system of stories. The 8 great demon chi comes from the 8 great demons. Those who absorb the demonic chi can use the power of the corresponding demons. The thunder and lightning demonic energy comes from the thunder and lightning demon, Zongsu. Just as Li Yuan was in shock, the thunder and lightning demonic energy quickly integrated into Li Yuan's body. Chi chi chi. Li Yuan's body flashed with electric arcs, as if he could control lightning at will. Not as if, but real. Now Li Yuan can control the power of thunder and lightning for his own use at will. It can be said that he is the embodiment of thunder and lightning. However, just like the dragon talisman, Li Yuan's power of thunder and lightning is related to his own strength. The higher the strength level, the stronger the lightning power used. Compared with the dragon talisman, the thunder and lightning demonic energy is more comprehensive. After all, it can control thunder and lightning and attack how you want. The dragon talisman can also control fire, but the focus is on the explosive skill of pyroblast. Of course, this does not mean that the 8 great demon chi is more powerful than the 12 talismans, it can only be said that each has its own merits. For example, among the 12 talismans, the dog talisman and the horse talisman have no combat power at all. However, the dog charm can make the bearer immortal and immune to all fatal attacks. The horse talisman can eliminate all abnormal external forces in the body, and can restore any shattered and damaged materials to the most perfect state. Both of them focus on auxiliary functions, but they are incomparable to the 8 great demon chi. No matter what, being able to obtain the thunder and lightning demonic energy has undoubtedly brought Li Yuan's own combat effectiveness to a higher level again. With dragon spells and thunder and lightning magic, it is absolutely easy to defeat rank 3 rank 4 beasts. At this moment, happy events came again. The golden light fell, and Li Yuan successfully broke through to rank 3. In his induction, Nia was promoted to rank 6, and the 3 ghosts broke through to rank 5 at the same time. The strength of all members has greatly increased. High-level castle, with the highest combat power of rank 6, can battle rank 7, and the barracks will be upgraded soon. It's only the second day. How many overlords can do this? Not surprisingly, he is number 1 among all overlords. Even if he is not the first, his shadow overlord must have a place in the top 3. Li Yuan looked at the trading square again. The elite wild boar meat was still not traded yet, and there were not enough energy stones to upgrade the barracks. There is no choice but to wait now. But until the evening, there were still 2 units of elite wild boar that had not been replaced. Li Yuan was also very helpless about this. The upgrade of the barracks was just around the corner, which made him itchy. Fortunately, at this time, Nia and the 3 ghosts finally came back. Since Li Yuan's primary purpose for Nia was to improve his strength, he and Guiying failed to send the bodies back in time after killing the wild monsters. When night fell, Nia and the others brought back a large number of beast carcasses in batches. In the end, a total of 128 beasts were placed in the yard, including the corpses of 2 elite monsters. It can be seen that Nia and the 3 ghosts are really crazy. Li Yuan looked at the corpses of beasts all over the ground and felt secretly speechless. If I had known earlier, I would have asked Nia to send the corpses back first. With so many corpses, there are still not enough energy stones to collect. Otherwise, the barracks would have been upgraded long ago. Thanks for your hard work. Li Yuan nodded to Nia and the others, and then stepped forward to start collecting. 10 minutes later, all the beast carcasses were collected. There are a total of 1,360 units of ordinary food, 100 units of elite food, and several other items. 42 energy stones and 1 origin crystal. Harvest. An unprecedented harvest. Li Yuan immediately turned around and walked towards Black Shadow Crystal, waiting for most of the day just for now. Black Shadow Overlord, you already have enough materials to upgrade the barracks. Do you want to upgrade immediately? Closing square bracket. Upgrade immediately. When Li Yuan's voice fell, the Black Shadow Crystal's light rose sharply. After a while, the light faded away, and the entire barracks didn't seem to have changed much. However, the information panel did change. Black Shadow Crystal. A unique military battalion, containing 9 corps. Closing square bracket. 9 corps. Ghost Shadow Corps, Claw Shadow Corps, Giant Shadow Corps, Flying Shadow Corps, Helmet Shadow Corps, Soft Shadow Corps, Devouring Shadow Corps, Pincer Shadow Corps, Scythe Shadow Corps. Level. Level 2. Second level production capacity. 5 shadow soldiers can be bred every day. The types of soldiers are random. There is a 1 in 10,000 chance of recruiting a shadow general. Closing square bracket. Upgrade items. 1,000 energy stones, 50 origin crystals. Closing square bracket. The upgraded Black Shadow Crystal has little change, but the second level Black Shadow Crystal can summon 5 shadow soldiers every day. It can be seen that the higher the level of the barracks, the more types of soldiers can be recruited. The real power of Black Shadow is its endless numbers, which is good news for Li Yuan. Li Yuan looked at Black Shadow Crystal and asked, "Can we recruit today?" "You have already recruited troops today. The Black Shadow Crystal is being charged and cannot be recruited." Closing square bracket. The prompt box gave a clear answer, "Not today." "Then let's talk tomorrow." "Tomorrow, if he recruits 5 more shadows, he will have a general and 8 shadows under his command. I just don't know if I can summon another general, which would be great." Of course, there is little hope of recruiting a general, but it should be possible to recruit shadow soldiers from other regiments. 2 days were filled with random ghosts, and on the 3rd day it was time to change to another troop type. Whether it can happen or not depends on tomorrow's luck. Afterwards, Li Yuan began to take stock of his supplies. After the castle and barracks were upgraded, he still had a lot of things left. Ordinary food, 1,368 units. Elite food, 100 units. Stone, 750 units. 40 energy stones and 1 origin crystal. Li Yuan did not count other things such as fur and teeth. Anyway, there were several piles piled in the corner of the warehouse. Just these supplies, whether you want to upgrade the castle or upgrade the black shadow crystal, are just a drop in the bucket. Upgrading a town requires 50,000 units of stone, 100,000 units of wood, and 10,000 units of iron essence. Upgrade the military camp with 1,000 energy stones and 50 origin crystals. Li Yuan felt like he had become a pauper in an instant. There seems to be a lot of food for more than 1,000 units, but even if you replace them all, you won't be able to upgrade the castle, let alone the barracks. Moreover, after 2 days, the price on the exchange square has dropped to the standard price. Elite wild boar was hanging out all afternoon, and Li Yuan went to the exchange square many times to see it. Although there is still demand for the food, it is not what it used to be. On the contrary, stone and wood have become in short supply, and everyone is already preparing to upgrade the castle. However, Li Yuan couldn't hold so much food in his hands, so he still had to hang it all out. The standard price is the standard price, whatever you can exchange will count. At this moment, Nia suddenly stepped forward, bowed to Li Yuan and said, "King, I have something to report." "What's the matter?" Li Yuan turned around and asked. Nia said respectfully, "When we came back, we found suspicious intelligent creatures outside the territory." Found a suspicious intelligent creature in the territory. Nia deliberately used such words to describe the other party. It was obviously not an ordinary monster. Li Yuan thought for a while, frowned and asked, "Is it a werewolf?" "There is a werewolf tribe 2,000 meters away. Nia has reported it before. It is the closest local force to the territory." "Not a werewolf, my king." Nia shook his head and said, "Those are several short humanoid creatures with long ears, green skin, and ugly faces. What we encountered was what should be a scout team. There were 7 members. They all had worn-out leather armor and simple weapons. The strongest ones are rank 5 elites, and the others are rank 3 and rank 4. The general suspected that they were here to inquire about the territory. When they saw us, they immediately fled the territory." Nia finally added, "Since there is no order from the king, we have no choice to continue tracking." Green skin, long ears and ugly, could he be a goblin? Li Yuan nodded and said, "Coming here uninvited is a thief. They may come again tonight. Then we will find out their lair. Creatures like goblins basically live in underground cave dwellings. He is timid by nature but a thief, so it was normal for Nia and the others not to notice him for a while. However, now that we know it, we must find out the specific situation of the other party. The other party sneaking into the territory obviously had bad intentions. If they were soft persimmons, Li Yuan wouldn't mind killing them directly. There should be corresponding rewards for destroying these local forces, right? We also need to find out the strength of the werewolf tribe as soon as possible. I thought there was a werewolf tribe nearby, but I never thought there was a goblin stronghold. It could only be regarded as a small accident. But compared to the sacred domain black-crested golden eagle and the coming tide of beasts, it was nothing. Next, Nia continued to leave the castle with the ghost shadow, going out to hunt monsters while paying attention to the traces of goblins. Li Yuan did not waste any time and hung more than 1,000 units of food into the trading square. Ordinary food is mainly exchanged for stone and wood. As for elite food, Li Yuan's transaction information was in exchange for energy stone, iron essence and origin crystal. 1 unit of elite food in exchange for 1 unit of fine iron or an energy stone. 5 units of elite food in exchange for an origin crystal. Not long after the food was put on the shelves, the world chat channel was once again dominated by Li Yuan. All the overlords were extremely shocked. Over the past 2 days, Li Yuan has been putting food on the shelves, and there are almost 1,000 units scattered in front of him. Now, 1,450 units have been put on the shelves at once. Nowadays, many overlords have given out a large amount of food in exchange for other resources, but no one has ever been able to put so much on the shelves at once. Let alone thousands, there are none with more than 500 units. I'm numb, really numb. Nearly 1,500 units of food will kill hundreds of beasts, right? Did Boss Black Shadow stab the beast's nest? This guy can't be the god he recruited. It's so scary, I can't even think about it. Hey, a new item has appeared again. Black Shadow Boss wants to exchange for iron essence. I know the origin crystal is used to upgrade barracks. What does this iron spirit do? Make weapons. If you fight well, you can either upgrade the barracks or upgrade the castle. Mine has been upgraded to the middle level castle. You don't need iron spirits to upgrade the high level castle. I guess it must be to upgrade the barracks. Yes, Black Shadow Boss has killed more than one elite monster, and the barracks has probably been upgraded to level 2. What can I say other than awesome? No, iron spirits or resources needed to upgrade the castle to a town. If you have them, you can also go to the exchange square to find me. The one talking upstairs is the Angel Overlord. Is this me? Thanks to the Angel Overlord, you let me eat. You were the first to sell food at standard prices. According to what the Angel Overlord said, isn't it true that you, boss, have also upgraded to the high-level castle? It's really annoying to compare people to each other. My castle is still in its infancy. Boss Angel and Black Shadow are both high-level castles. Are there any other bosses? Please tell me if the Angel boss is a boy or a girl. As usual, Li Yuan did not watch the World Chat channel. However, not long after he posted the transaction information, he found that someone else had posted information about buying iron essence. Still the familiar name, Angel Overlord. Being able to exchange iron spirits at this time only means that the Angel Overlord has risen to the high-level castle like him and is raising resources to upgrade the town. Obviously, the two of them were ahead of the vast majority of overlords. It is not ruled out that there are other overlords with powerful units. They may not be short of resources and do not need to exchange them. I wonder where this Angel Overlord is. Li Yuan thought to himself that the opponent was not weak and would definitely become a powerful opponent in the Black Shadow territory in the future. Time passed slowly, and food was gradually exchanged for stone and wood. I also exchanged a few energy stones, but I haven't exchanged the origin crystal and iron essence yet. Li Yuan was originally going to rest, but thinking that the goblins might come again tonight, he stayed up a little bit. He is still a little curious about the local forces. Especially in the announcement on the World Chat channel, the description of War Continent is not detailed. If we can capture a few alive, we might be able to learn more information about War Continent from them. At 10 o'clock in the evening, Li Yuan stood on the 6th floor attic of the castle, looking out at the jungle outside. The moon was dim tonight, and low beast roars sounded from time to time, which was extremely penetrating. The ghost had not yet sent any news of the goblin invasion of the territory. Li Yuan sat on a wooden chair and opened the trading square. Previously, Nia and the others came back to collect the carcasses of beasts, collected 300 units of ordinary food, and threw them into the trading square. All transactions of ordinary food have been completed, and 11,000 units of wood and 7,500 units of stone have been harvested. Elite food was exchanged for 12 energy stones, leaving 88 units. Origin Crystal and Tai Jing still haven't been replaced. Fortunately, Origin Crystal can be collected by killing elite monsters. But for the time being, Li Yuan didn't know whether to collect this iron essence directly or whether it needed to be smelted with iron ore. At this moment, a prompt box appeared in front of Li Yuan's eyes. Shadow Overlord, your private chats with strangers have reached the upper limit of 50 million, please clean them up in time. Closing square bracket. Li Yuan was stunned when he saw the content of the prompt box. 50 million private messages. Ever since Li Yuan started trading food, many overlords had sent him private messages through the trading square, and he knew this. They basically bargained with him and begged him to exchange food at a low price, but Li Yuan didn't bother to pay attention. Who knew that in less than 2 days, it had already accumulated 50 million, which is a bit fierce. But considering that there are 3 billion humans reincarnated in the War Continent, this number is not that exaggerated. Li Yuan opened the chat channel and quickly found the one-click clear all button. However, just when he was about to click the button, his hand stopped at the critical moment. Li Yuan's peripheral vision just accidentally scanned the last message in the private chat. There were 2 words in the content that caught his attention. It's none other than the word Tai Jing that Li Yuan is thinking about. The last private message came from a person named Fairy Overlord. Do you want iron essence? This fairy has a lot here and can provide it continuously. But the price of your food is too high. Can we add friends to discuss it in detail? Judging from this sentence, the other party should be a girl, and she doesn't look too old. Besides the Tsunere middle school girl, who would name their territory after a fairy. Li Yuan instinctively felt that it was a bit unreliable, so he directly chose to clear all private chat messages with one click. After deleting the private message, Li Yuan pondered for a long time, and finally couldn't help opening the friend window. Search for the little fairy Overlord and add friends. Iron Jing involves upgrading towns. I haven't been able to change it for so long. Why not give it a try? Chat with friends first. If it's really unreliable, then delete it. Li Yuan sent a friend request and waited for a while, but there was no response from the other party, which was a little disappointing. Then I thought about it. Most of the night, the other party was sleeping. Just when he was about to exit the friend chat, the reply message from the other party popped up. Fairy Overlord. Are you the shadowy overlord with lots of food? Li Yuan. Well, I am. You said you have iron essence, how many? Fairy Overlord. Not many now, only 20 units that have just been refined, but there will be many soon. Li Yuan. Made by refining. Little Fairy Overlord. There is an iron mine at the door of this fairy's territory, and the soldiers she recruits are dwarf craftsmen, who can smelt iron. Sure enough, iron essence needs to be smelted. Dwarf craftsmen, according to Li Yuan's understanding, dwarves are indeed good at forging and smelting. The premise is that the little fairy is telling the truth. Li Yuan decides to make lies from the other party. Li Yuan. My demand is quite large. Can your craftsmen satisfy it? Fairy Overlord. How old? The dwarf uncle said that if they can eat enough, it should be no problem to provide 100 units of iron spirits a day. 100 units of iron essence a day. Li Yuan was a little surprised. This amount was not small. In 2 days, the other party should have only recruited 4 types of troops, just like me. How can you keep busy when you have to mine and smelt? Thinking of this, Li Yuan wanted to delete the person. He felt that this little fairy was deceiving him. At this time, news of the little fairy Overlord came again. Fairy Overlord. Is it missing? When my furnace reaches middle level, I can produce 300 units of refined iron per day. Fairy Overlord. Oh, by the way, the special building of the furnace, the blueprint I discovered when I was collecting stones, the dwarf uncle and the others use this to smelt iron essence. Special buildings, drawings. These are all new words to Li Yuan, and he somewhat believes what this little fairy said. Ordinary liars can't make up these things. After a moment of silence, Li Yuan replied, At what price do you want to exchange? Fairy Overlord. I need 600 units of food a day, but now I can only give you 100 units of refined iron a day, is that okay? Li Yuan. Why do you store so much food? 600 units of food a day. What you summoned is not a dwarf, but a giant rice bucket. Little Fairy Overlord. If you don't store it, you can eat it all on the same day. There are hundreds of mouths. Li Yuan. You recruited 100 dwarves in 2 days. The first level barracks can only recruit 2, and the second level barracks can only recruit 5. Could it be that the other party broke this rule? Fairy Overlord. Not all of them were recruited. The 2 dwarf uncles I summoned on the first day. When they went out to dig stones, they happened to meet more than 80 local wandering dwarves. They all came back and said they wanted to make a living with me. Why, I can't even drive him away, but I am worried to death. Fortunately, they were able to go out and help me dig rocks and mine iron ore, but it was so edible that one meal only required 2 units of food. All the stones collected in the past 2 days were exchanged for food for them. Otherwise, my castle would have been upgraded to middle level. Li Yuan. Seeing this sentence, Li Yuan didn't know how to answer the question. Local forces take the initiative to seek refuge, and they can still play like this. No wonder it is said that 100 units of iron spirits can be provided in a day, and there are hundreds of hard laborers in the lover's family. This luck is really beyond words. 3 billion overlords. I am afraid this little fairy has the largest number of soldiers under her command. Li Yuan thought for a while and replied, 600 units of food for 100 units of iron essence, I agreed. Fairy Overlord. Can you replace my 20 units first? I still have a few hungry uncles here. Li Yuan. Okay, you can initiate the transaction. Friends can trade privately without going through the trading channel, which is more convenient. Soon Li Yuan received a purchase message from the little fairy overlord, and he entered 120 units of food. Fortunately, he had left 200 units of food for himself, otherwise he would not be able to get it out now. After the transaction was completed, 20 fist-sized black iron blocks suddenly appeared in the castle warehouse, which were iron spirits. Little fairy overlord, the food has been received. The iron essence will be smelted tomorrow. I will come to see you again. I am so sleepy. I am going to bed to say goodbye. Good night. Li Yuan. Okay, go ahead and good night. Seeing the other party's name dimmed, Li Yuan couldn't help but smile. In the future, you should also check the World Chat channel more and pay more attention to the information of other overlords. Li Yuan decided not to completely isolate himself from other overlords in the future, and this time as an example. If I hadn't received the prompt, or if I hadn't added the other party's friend with the intention of giving it a try, where would I have found Tai Jing? If the little fairy can really keep providing him with fine iron, then upgrading the town will be just around the corner. It can even completely monopolize the iron essence industry. Any overlord who wants to upgrade his town needs iron spirits, which is indispensable. Others may also be randomly assigned to the dwarf craftsman class, but you know with your knees that not everyone can have the luck of a little fairy. Not only is there an iron mine at the door, but there are also hundreds of hard workers sent to her door to work for her. Therefore, in this early stage, refined iron will inevitably become a scarce resource, just like food for these 2 days. Through the exchange with this little fairy overlord just now, he could feel that she was indeed young and a little naive. If you fool around, you might be able to make a lot of money out of it. Of course, the most important thing is to see whether the little fairy is reliable and can continue to cooperate for a long time. Not long after, Li Yuan let out a long yawn, and sleepiness invaded his brain. Li Yuan looked at the time, it was just past midnight, and frowned. Aren't the goblins coming tonight? Forget it if you don't come, go to sleep. Li Yuan stood up from the chair, stretched and was about to go back to the bedroom to sleep. But before he took a few steps, he remembered that it was already early morning, and it seemed that a new day had arrived. New Sombra can be recruited. Li Yuan went downstairs and came to the lobby. After recruiting new soldiers, it's not too late to go to bed. The upgraded second-level barracks can recruit 5 shadow soldiers at one time. In this way, there will be 5 more black shadows tonight. 8 black shadows can spawn monsters together, which will be more efficient. Time is life, make full use of it. Other overlord units cannot be deployed at night, but his shadow can be used without any influence. Li Yuan is now ahead of most overlords. In addition to the power of the black shadow itself, the night power also plays a big factor. Being able to widen the gap now will be of great use in the future. Under bright light, black shadow crystal looks even darker and mysterious. The black shadow crystal is fully charged. Would you like to recruit black shadow soldiers immediately? Closing square bracket. Li Yuan nodded and said, recruit immediately. Black light filled the air, and 5 shadows separated from one of the diamond-shaped crystals. Each of the 9 crystals represents a military unit, which Li Yuan guessed should be the case. It's just that these 9 crystals are exactly the same, so Li Yuan can't tell which one is which, and whether it is different from the previous recruitment. But don't worry, you will know immediately if there is a shadow of the new regiment. In a few breaths, the shadows flowed, and 5 black figures stepped out of the shadows and stood up. Li Yuan looked up and suddenly smiled. He guessed wrong. A diamond-shaped crystal does not only represent a core, but also appears randomly. There are still ghosts this time, too. But the other 3 are no longer ghosts and come from the new core. They were extremely tall, at least 2.5 meters tall. Their attire was similar to that of ghosts, with black clothes covering their bodies. A pair of scarlet eyes, like 2 big red lanterns. Also, their muscular arms are exposed, which is very visually impactful. It looks like an iron tower alone. This is none other than the giant shadow core, also known as the troll core, among the 9 black shadow core. Of course, they are not the troll humanoids in Western fantasy, they are simply giant demons in a simple sense. The giant shadow is huge, powerful, and unparalleled in defense. It can be regarded as a walking killing fortress. The only drawback is that the flexibility is slightly less. After the 2 ghost figures and 3 giant figures appeared, they all knelt down on one knee towards Li Yuan, showing silent submission and respect to him. Giant Shadow Core Soldier. Strength level. Rank 4 can be improved by killing enemies. Loyalty. 100%. Growth limit. Sacred Domain. The other 2 ghosts also had rank 4 in their initial strength. This should be because Black Shadow Crystal has increased their initial level after reaching level 2. The first 2 recruitments were all rank 3. Nia is a general level shadow, and was only rank 5 when he was recruited. Rank 4 Giant Shadows are slightly weaker than the current Nia. However, with the Giant Shadow's thick-skinned attributes, it may not be able to defeat Nia, but it may not be much weaker than those rank 5 ghosts. Unfortunately, we were unable to recruit a general level ghost this time. After all, the chance was 1 in 10,000. Li Yuan looked at Juing, feeling quite satisfied with this recruitment. I hope to recruit other core next time and strive to gather the 9 major core as soon as possible. As for the other 8 generals, take your time. Each of the 9 Black Shadow armies has unique abilities and is very powerful. For example, the Flying Shadow Corps among them look like bats. They have wings, can fly, and have aerial combat capabilities. If Fei Ying can be recruited, it will definitely enhance Li Yuan's control over the territorial airspace. At this moment, Nia's figure suddenly appeared in front of Li Yuan through the shadow space. "Report to my king," Nia said respectfully. "Those ugly green creatures are here, and they are approaching the territory cautiously." Hearing this, Li Yuan turned his head and looked outside, but saw nothing in the darkness. "How many have come?" Li Yuan asked. Nia replied, 2 teams, 14. The leaders are 2 rank 5 elites. In the evening, a small group of goblins came, and now there were 2. It seemed that they were going to attack the castle. A group of things that don't know how to live or die. Li Yuan groaned. "Don't do anything for now, let them get closer first, and stay all of them." "Yes, my king." Nia bent down and agreed. For this reason, Li Yuan also deliberately turned off some of the lights in the castle, fearing that the goblins would be scared away. About 10 minutes later, under the dim moonlight, Li Yuan saw some sparse shadows moving in the jungle, approaching the castle. It can be vaguely seen that they have green skin and thin and slender limbs. He is short in stature and looks weird like an alien in a movie. As these shadows got closer, Li Yuan could see them more clearly with the help of some lights from the castle. It is indeed a humanoid creature like a goblin. Basically, they are more than 1 meter tall and have green skin. The eyes and nose are large, with 2 long pointed ears, and the teeth are messy and pointed yellow. They all wore crooked, rotten leather armor, and held various weapons in their hands, including swords, sticks, axes, and sticks. The 2 at the front were slightly taller and wore more complete armor. One of them, in particular, wore a red and black robe outside the leather armor, and held a half-meter-long stick in his hand. What caught Li Yuan's attention the most was that the top of the stick was inlaid with a crystal, which looked very much like the origin crystal. Staff. Is this a goblin magician? Li Yuan and Nia hid in the darkness and looked at the other one. The other goblin was strong, holding a mace in his hand, and his round eyes were full of ferocity. The auras of these 2 goblins are rank 5 elite. According to Li Yuan's estimation, of these 2, one is a charged warrior and the other is a long-range magician. These goblins were hiding in the dense jungle, whispering something, and finally seemed to have made a decision. The magician goblin waved his staff. Suddenly, the shabby armor on the other goblins began to glow with a faint light, and the aura on their bodies became stronger. Obviously this is a blessing and auxiliary magic that improves the defense and attack of the other goblins. A moment later, under the leadership of another goblin warrior leader, he waved the weapon in his hand and roared towards the Black Shadow Castle. However, the first attack that landed on the castle was from the goblin magician behind. The goblin magician waved the staff in his hand, and a piece of frost flew out from the crystal that seemed to be the origin crystal, condensing into an ice cone in midair. Hundreds of ice picks fell from the sky and smashed into the castle with a roar. But before they even got close, the ice picks landed on the castle's protective barrier. Bang 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 bang. The protective barrier was attacked, and the milky white light circulated without any damage. On the contrary, all the ice picks were turned into pieces. Being invincible within 7 days is not something you just say casually. Not to mention a small rank 5 elite magician, even if the gods come, there is no chance. The sacred domain black-crested golden eagle was very smart. It sensed the existence of the protective barrier and chose to leave directly. It can only be said that these goblins are too weak and their brains are not good enough. At this time, other goblins had also rushed outside the protective barrier, swinging various weapons and smashing them down, and all of them were bounced away by the counterattack. What a powerful magic circle! More, retreat. This magic circle is at least rank 9. The goblin magician stared at the castle's extremely solid protective barrier, was shocked, and immediately shouted to the goblin warrior. They have been paying attention to this castle for a long time and have made sufficient preparations. For example, there are not many people in this castle, only a few men in black, and these men in black are basically hunting monsters outside. They chose this time to attack because they saw Nia and the others leaving the castle. They took this opportunity to catch the castle by surprise. I hope to find some treasures in this big castle. Who would have thought that this castle was protected by a magic circle, and it was at least a rank 9 magic circle? What does this mean? This means that the master of the castle is by no means below rank 9. Even if the owner of the castle does not have this power, he must be protected by beings with rank 9 strength. They attacked with only 2 teams, they couldn't afford to provoke them. Escape. All we can do is escape. Their attack has probably been discovered by the castle owner. If they don't escape, they won't be able to escape. When he shouted those words, the goblin mage had already turned around and ran away. After the other goblins reacted, they also began to retreat. You're just running away. You're really cowardly. In the castle, Li Yuan smiled playfully and said to Nia beside him, "Go ahead and bring 2 back alive, and kill all the others." "Yes, my king." Nia bowed and blended into the ground instantly. Li Yuan can understand the goblin's words because the goblin speaks the common language of War Continent. In terms of common language, Li Yuan naturally learned it when he was reincarnated here. I believe other overlords are the same as him. Not long after, screams of fighting were heard outside the castle. Nia and the giant ghost shadows are ruthlessly harvesting the lives of those goblins. Black Shadow, as the darling of the night, is uniquely blessed. They can appear next to any goblin at will. Whenever they appear, cold light and blood flowers flash, which represents the end of the goblin's life. Not long after, the 2 goblin squads had been killed. At this moment, only a few were still running away in panic, including the charge warrior goblin and the magician goblin. The magician goblin is the fastest runner and can even fly briefly with the help of a staff. Unfortunately, it was no use. When all the other goblins were killed, the ghosts immediately gave chase. The warrior goblin ran wildly in the forest. The next moment, 3 ghost figures came out of his shadow and chopped off one of his arms. Ah! Amid the screams, 3 ghost figures successfully captured him. When the goblin magician who was fleeing at the front heard the screams of the goblin warriors, he was even more frightened and his speed increased greatly. At this moment, a sword light cut down from the void. The goblin magician quickly retreated, chanting continuously, the light of his staff flashing, and a magic shield instantly formed in front of him. Then, magic armor appeared on his body. Unfortunately, when the sword fell, the magic shield instantly shattered and continued to attack him. The magic armor is also as fleshy as tofu, easily crushed by the sword light and completely unable to withstand it. Poof! The sword slashed into the goblin magician's chest, his bones and flesh visible, and he fell powerlessly from the low altitude. When the goblin landed, Nia's figure appeared, grabbed the goblin magician by the neck, and disappeared without even looking at him. When Nia appeared again, she had returned to Black Shadow Castle. 3 ghost figures were constantly carrying goblin corpses into the castle, and there were many green piles. The goblin warrior with a broken arm curled up and fell to the ground, his legs were tied with ropes, and his wounds were still bleeding. "King, all the creatures that invaded the territory have been killed. According to your request, the king, we deliberately left 2 alive." After Nia appeared, he first bowed to Li Yuan and then casually threw the goblin magician next to the warrior. The 2 little goblin leaders looked at each other with only despair in their eyes. Completely annihilated, The two rank 5 elites took the lead and formed two teams of 14 people. They once explored the werewolf tribe next door. Those werewolves were also very powerful, but after they were discovered, they escaped with only 3 dead warriors. But now in this castle, they are the only 2 people left alive. When I saw Li Yuan looking down at them and the 3 giant figures next to Li Yuan, my heart was filled with despair. This human castle that suddenly appeared is so terrifying. Li Yuan glanced at the 2 goblins and ignored them, but walked towards the goblin corpses. These goblins are intelligent creatures, not ordinary beasts. Can they be collected? Goblin corpse found. Should it be collected? Closing square bracket. The appearance of the prompt box means that these goblin corpses can also be collected, but I don't know what can be collected. Li Yuan said with some curiosity, collect it immediately. The next moment, all the goblin corpses on the ground disappeared. The collection of goblin corpses is successful. You gain 5 sets of rank 1 leather armor and 5 rank 1 weapons. Closing square bracket. Tip: weapons and equipment are divided into rank 9, Saint Weapon, and Divine Weapon. Closing square bracket. When Li Yuan saw the message in the prompt box, it turned out that unlike the beast's gains, what he got this time was mainly equipment. No food and no more energy stones. In the warehouse, there are 5 more sets of leather armor and 5 more swords, which are obviously rank 1 leather armor and rank 1 weapons. These gains are better than the leather weapons originally worn by the goblins, and are similar to those of the 2 living goblins. Obviously, only these 2 goblins were wearing rank 1 equipment, and the others were not worthy of wearing it. However, this weaponry is completely useless to the Black Shadows. They can use their shadows to condense any weapons. The lowest rank 1 equipment, Li Yuan himself doesn't like it. Ignoring the equipment for the time being, Li Yuan focused his attention on the 2 living goblins again. Li Yuan walked towards them and took the staff from the goblin magician's hand. Taking a closer look at the crystal core at the top, this thing is actually the origin crystal needed to upgrade the Black Shadow Barracks, which is an unexpected surprise. But it was only 1, and Li Yuan was still short of 48. Playing with the staff in his hand, Li Yuan spoke to the 2 goblins in the common language of War Continent. I need to know all the news about Crimson Moon Forest and nearby areas, including the situation of your goblin tribe. Who comes first? Quote: the goblin warrior will not betray the tribe. The goblin warrior shouted. Li Yuan smiled and glanced at the giant shadow beside him. Immediately, the fist, which was larger than the goblin's body, fell on the goblin warrior's body. When he picked up his fist, the goblin warrior had turned into pulp, including the rank 1 leather armor he wears. The goblin magician next to him was so heartbroken that his whole body was trembling. I say, respected strong human beings, I say everything. The goblin magician was so frightened that he answered whatever he asked. His name is Gilton, and he comes from outside the swamp to the west of Black Shadow Castle, where there is a natural cave dwelling. The entire goblin tribe lives there, with more than 1,800 people, considered a small tribe. According to Gilton, their tribe was once an army of the Goblin Kingdom decades ago and wandered here after being defeated. Goblins are considered low-end versions of goblins and have always been part of the Goblin Kingdom. The strongest person in the goblin tribe is their chief, a warrior of rank 9, who was once the leader of their team. There is also a rank 8 magician, 5 or 6 rank 7s, and the overall strength is still very good. If you are not strong, you will not be able to survive here. Li Yuan also had a general understanding of the geographical location of Crimson Moon Forest from Gil Tang. War Continent is not a complete continent, but is divided into 7 plates of different sizes, which are called the 7 continents. The 7 continents are separated by the Endless Sea. Crimson Moon Forest is located in the Andhra state among the 7 continents. It is located in the eastern part of the War Continent and is medium in size. Crimson Moon Forest is a forbidden place in Andhra. Gilton couldn't tell the specific situation clearly. It's just rumored that a god died here many years ago, and then the moonlight near the forest turned red. Normally, few creatures come to Crimson Moon Forest. In their opinion, a god has fallen in Crimson Moon Forest, and it is an ominous and cursed place. Of course, this is also related to the danger level of Crimson Moon Forest itself. In addition to countless beasts, there are also many high-level monsters. There are only two intelligent life tribes around Crimson Moon Forest. One is their goblin tribe, and the other is the werewolf tribe north of the castle. The werewolf tribe has existed even longer. When Gilton and his tribe wandered here, the werewolf tribe already existed. The two tribes are quite far apart and rarely fight, and most of the time they live alone. Compared to the goblin tribe, the werewolf tribe numbered 3,000 and was stronger. The leader is Semi-Saint, the one who is just a little bit close to breaking through the sacred domain. He also has a rank 9 warrior and a magician under his command. As for the Crimson Moon Forest itself, Gilton knew even less, because none of them dared to go deep into it. Li Yuan mentioned the black-crested golden eagle, but Gilton knew more about it. The black-crowned golden eagle is indeed a sacred domain and flies out of Crimson Moon Forest every 10 days. The specific reason is unknown. After patiently listening to Gilton's narration, Li Yuan was silent for a while. Seeing Li Yuan thinking, Jiarton kept his mouth shut obediently, not daring to make a sound. After a long while, Li Yuan asked again, "Have you found any other castles like mine nearby?" Hearing this, Gilton's face changed slightly and he glanced weakly at Li Yuan. "There is one a few hundred meters away from our tribe. It suddenly appeared the day before yesterday," Gilton whispered. "But, it's gone now." Li Yuan raised his eyebrows and asked, "Huh? Tell me what's going on." "Not long after that castle appeared, some of our strange tribesmen came out to dig stones. They looked very hungry and seemed to be enslaved. We asked them secretly and provided them with food. We learned that a human had enslaved them. After our persuasion, the strangers went back and deceived the human being. We killed him." After saying these words, Gilton shrank his neck, apparently because he was afraid that Li Yuan would be related to the humans they killed. When Li Yuan heard this little story, his expression became a little complicated and he couldn't help but sigh. In short, it was him, a fellow earthling whom he had never met, who recruited the goblin army at the doorstep of the goblin tribe. Then, the recruited goblins worked hungry and were betrayed by the goblin tribe. In fact, these are all trivial matters. The point is that this idiot actually left the castle on the first day. He is simply hopelessly stupid. Isn't it delicious with a 7-day invincible protection period? It would be better this time. He would be killed directly as soon as he went out, or he would die indirectly at the hands of the soldiers he recruited. It can only be said that fate plays a trick on people. Li Yuan shook his head and asked curiously, "Where is that castle? Is it still there?" "No, after the human died, the castle disappeared," Gilton replied honestly. "However, we picked up 500 energy stones and 2 origin crystals where the castle disappeared." 500 energy stones, 2 origin crystals. Li Yuan was shocked. Could this be a reward for destroying other Overlord castles? If this is the case, it will intensify the fighting and hatred among the 3 billion Overlords in disguise. The main thing is to kill and destroy the opponent's castle. The rewards are too many. 500 energy stones are half the number needed to upgrade the barracks to level 3. This is just a junior castle. If it were a middle-level or high-level castle, the rewards would probably be even more generous. Soon, Li Yuan came to his senses and said to Gilton with a strange expression, "So, you just gave me your idea?" "Yes, respected strong human being," Gilton said with a wry smile. Li Yuan couldn't deny this. With hundreds of energy stones, he probably couldn't help but try his luck. Of course, that fellow died outside the castle. Otherwise, these goblins would definitely not dare to come if they knew about the castle's invincible protective barrier. At this time, Gilton asked timidly, "Dear human strongman, I have told you everything I know. Can you leave?" "Did I say I would let you go?" Li Yuan asked. Gilton was shocked, but his expression froze instantly. Nia had already reached out and twisted his neck. The next moment, a stream of light appeared on Li Yuan. The beasts killed by Ghost Shadow previously, coupled with the energy points provided by these goblins, allowed him to advance from rank 3 to rank 4. It's just rank 4, not worth mentioning, nothing to be happy about. After all, the crisis he has to face is either rank 9 or sacred domain. Rank 4 is too weak. Li Yuan got familiar with the new power, turned to look at Nia, and said, "Go ahead and continue hunting wild beasts." "Yes, my king." Nia glanced at the 5 ghost figures and 3 giant figures, and they all sank to the ground and disappeared. Li Yuan conveniently collected Gilton's body and obtained another rank 1 leather armor. Looking at the time, it was almost 1 o'clock in the morning. For Li Yuan, it was of little use to stay up all night. Anyway, there was a shadow outside to spawn monsters, and there was no need for him to go out in person. After taking a comfortable hot bath, Li Yuan lay down on the soft bed. He did not go to sleep immediately, but began to review today's gains and think about the next arrangements. The goblin tribe took 500 energy stones. They should also have them. This tribe has to find a way to get them. A rank 9, wait 2 days for Nia to rise to rank 8, and with the addition of the ghost shadow, I should be able to win it. The werewolf tribe is numerous and strong enough, so we won't provoke them for the time being. The little fairy will provide 100 units of refined iron tomorrow. Upgrading the town requires 10,000 refined iron, which is not enough. We have to think of other ways. Don't forget to exchange for stone and wood. I wonder if anyone would be willing to replace the leather armor weapons we collected. The next day is the 3rd day of the war continent when 3 billion people on Earth are reincarnated. After 2 days of development, the lives of many overlords are much easier than when they first arrive. In 3 days, at least 6 types of troops can be recruited. No matter how strong or weak the arms are, they should at least be able to guarantee that they can survive. In the trading square, the amount of food purchases has dropped by 70% to 80%, and now they are basically buying stone and wood. This means that everyone is preparing to upgrade the castle. After all, the beast tide is not far away in 7 days. Only by making their castle stronger and upgrading their troops to a higher level can they survive the first life and death hurdle. That's right, it's a life and death test. It can also be regarded as a life and death elimination game. Only by surviving the tide of beasts safely can one be qualified to truly participate in the so-called struggle for hegemony among all races. This is all imaginary. The point is that only by surviving the beast tide can we survive. After surviving, you can choose whether you want to continue fighting for hegemony or live in this different world. If you can't survive, you have no choice but to die. This is not a game. The reality before everyone is so cruel. There is no doubt that many people will die in the beast tide, maybe half, maybe more. No one wants to be one of those who die. No one wants to die. Therefore, countless overlords are trying their best to improve their strength. Li Yuan took a nap today. He stayed up too late last night worrying about the goblins. When he woke up, it was already 10 o'clock in the morning. After washing his face and brushing his teeth, he made breakfast. After eating until he was 7/10 full, he walked to the yard. There were a lot of beast corpses, no less than 150, which showed that the Black Shadow's killing efficiency had improved a lot last night. Li Yuan didn't look much and started collecting directly. Ordinary food, 2,300 units, elite food, 260 units. 28 energy stones and 2 origin crystals. With nothing to think about, Li Yuan put all the food into the trading square. As usual, normal food is exchanged for stone and wood at standard prices, and elite food is exchanged for energy stone, iron essence, and origin crystal. Although the demand for food is not as high as the previous 2 days, there are still people who will replace it. For example, those with too much stone and wood, those soldiers that are particularly edible, or those unable to find food within the territory. Of course, 600 units of ordinary food were left behind. He didn't forget that the little fairy wanted to provide iron spirits, so he had to prepare enough for the other party. Li Yuan looked at the friend chat box. The portrait of the little fairy overlord was still gray. He didn't know whether Tai Jing was unprepared or was sleeping in. Anyway, he was idle, so Li Yuan opened the trading square again. After killing those goblins last night, he got 6 sets of rank 1 leather armor and 5 rank 1 weapons, which he was going to exchange for other items. Li Yuan searched for standard prices and found that rank 1 equipment was only worth 1,000 units of wood and 500 units of stone. I have to say, this is really hot chicken. Li Yuan cursed a few times in his mind, but still chose to put it on the shelves for trading. No matter how small a mosquito is, it is still meat. Besides, there is no use keeping it and it is a waste of warehouse space. Just after filling in the transaction information, Li Yuan suddenly discovered that there was an auction button on the left side of the trading square. After thinking about it, Li Yuan decisively deleted the original transaction information and put the leather armor and weapons into the auction system. In the entire trading square, no one has yet come up with weapons and equipment for sale. In other words, Li Yuan is the first. Admittedly, Li Yuan doesn't like these low-priced equipment, but for some other overlords, there is still a difference between having weapons and not having weapons. If you recruit ordinary militiamen, put on leather armor and pick up weapons, it will naturally be faster to clear monsters. The rules of the auction system are very simple. The auction time is 2 hours. Within 2 hours, the highest bidder will complete the transaction. After throwing it up, Li Yuan stopped caring about it and just waited until the time was up. Li Yuan closed the trading square, thought for a while and opened the friend chat bar, and sent a message to the little fairy overlord. Li Yuan, 600 units of food have been prepared. Where is your iron essence? For a long time, the little fairy didn't respond. Li Yuan shook his head helplessly and opened the world chat channel next to him, ready to see the situation of other overlords. The chat history is still numerous and fast, flashing constantly. Li Yuan studied the chat channel for a while and found that the chat history can actually set the frequency of messages. You can set the refresh time, and you can also set keyword refresh or blocking, etc. The function is very powerful. Li Yuan slowed down the information refresh frequency by 1,000 times, and the information beat slowed down. Just at this time, the information about Li Yuan's equipment auction once again caused a sensation. What's the situation? Can you explode equipment by killing monsters? What equipment? Didn't you see the trading square? Black Shadow Boss is auctioning equipment. It's true. These equipment look so familiar, I seem to have seen them before. Remember, the goblins attacked my ghost-faced spiders yesterday afternoon, and they were wearing this kind of leather armor. That is to say, Black Shadow Boss has started to engage local forces. I seriously doubt that Black Shadow Boss is now the strongest among all overlords. Black Shadow Boss is so awesome that I can't explain it. It's just that the level of these equipment is too low. They are all rank 1. Everyone's arms should have 2 rank 3. It doesn't apply. It's still useful. My militiamen are still wearing only underpants. They come back from hunting with injuries. It's a pity that I only have enough stone and wood for myself, otherwise I would have bought some. Bye. I don't have much of anything, I just have a lot of wood. Professional lumberjacks understand this. I don't know where Black Shadow Boss's territory is and whether it's close to me. I really want to ask Black Shadow Boss to take care of him. What a beautiful idea, you foot-picking guy. Li Yuan was somewhat surprised to see this news. From the chats of these people, it can be seen that he seems to have become somewhat famous. Mostly because I sell more food myself. Li Yuan had no intention of chatting. He took another look and found that there wasn't much useful information. It's all nonsense and has no nutrition. I have to say that these people are really idle. The crisis is just around the corner and they are still in the mood to chat and chat. The Endless Sea, an island. A young man walked slowly on the beach, and several golden dragons were hunting a group of sea beasts in the sea. Black Shadow Overlord, I have seen your messages every day these days. The young man looked at his golden dragon and chuckled, are your troops very strong? The soldier he recruited as the king of dragon race, the golden dragon. Although it is still a larva, its strength is not as powerful as in the myth, and it currently only has rank 5. But as long as it reaches adulthood, the golden dragon has saint rank, and its upper limit is divine realm, which is comparable to gods. I hope you can survive the beast wave, otherwise you are not qualified to be my opponent. As the young man spoke, a faint pressure spread from him, suppressing the sea beasts and making them tremble. This is his castle upgrade to gain divine ability, the Dragon King's holy power. After recruiting the golden dragon, the young man had no worries about the beast tide, and his goal was directly towards the struggle for hegemony among all races. He will definitely become one of the overlords of War Continent. In Andir Estate, on the Tagan Great Plains, a tall castle stands. At the top of the castle, there is a white angel statue with 6 pairs of wings behind it. This is Yi Shui's Angel Castle. Judging from the size of Angel Castle, it has obviously been upgraded to high level. At this time, Yi Shui had already collected the Energy Stone and Origin Crystal to upgrade the 2nd level barracks. She had just finished the upgrade, and she was very happy. But she also saw the information about Li Yuan's equipment auction, and she felt slightly depressed. She had worked very hard, even taking part in the hunt herself, but she was still one step behind Li Yuan. Yi Shui guessed that Li Yuan upgraded the barracks yesterday. If she upgrades now, she will only be half a day behind Li Yuan. However, now Li Yuan has started killing goblins. It's a coincidence that there is also a goblin tribe not far from Yi Shui Angel Castle. But with her current strength, she is still unable to attack such a tribe. I will definitely surpass you. Yi Shui clenched her fists and said to her upgraded barracks, recruit angels. She could recruit them early in the morning, but she held back and waited for the barracks to be upgraded before recruiting, so that she could summon more angels. It can be seen that Yi Shui's IQ and face are directly proportional. In other places in War Continent, overlords with powerful apex-level units have this mentality. Even though Li Yuan seems to have the lead, they are still confident. The powerful apex-level troops are enough for them to catch up in a short time, because their troops will become more and more powerful. Of course Li Yuan doesn't know this. He is now collecting monster corpses again. Nia led 4 ghost figures and 3 giant figures and brought back 32 beast corpses. After collecting the carcasses of these beasts, Li Yuan left Nia alone. Li Yuan first hung the food in the trading square, and then told Nia, don't kill monsters for the time being. Go to the goblin tribe outside the western swamp first, carefully investigate their specific situation, and there is a tribe of werewolves from the north. Be careful. Yes, my king. Nia sank to the ground in response. Although Gilton has spoken about the strength of these 2 tribes, who knows whether what he said is true or false, you still have to see it to believe it. Only by knowing yourself and the enemy can you be undefeated in 100 battles. Especially the goblin tribe, Li Yuan is determined to win. There are at least 500 energy stones there, so there's no reason not to get them. As for Nia's safety, Li Yuan is not worried at all. It is hidden in the shadows and no one can find it. Besides, Nia's trip is just to gather information, and he will not fight with the opponent. It is worth mentioning that there are still many overlords who want those goblin leather weapons, and they have all been auctioned off at this time. In this auction, Li Yuan obtained a total of 7,000 units of wood and 1,200 units of stone. Including the food sold one after another, there are a total of 33,000 units of wood and 9,200 units of stone in the warehouse. There is still a long way to go to upgrade the town. Especially Taijing, there are only 20 units now. There are 53 energy stones and 4 origin crystals. There is still a lot left to upgrade to the Black Shadow Crystal. I wonder if we can gather them together before the Beast Wave. I hope the castle and barracks can be upgraded again before the Beast Wave attacks. It has been upgraded twice in the past few days. Li Yuan did not dare to think that this upgrade requires such resources, and it would be okay to upgrade again. During the 7-day protection period, you can at most upgrade it once, without any surprises. Therefore, Li Yuan decided that the focus in the past few days is to improve Sombra and his personal strength, and collecting resources comes second. Especially the strength of Nia, the Shadow General, must be improved to rank 9 or above. Otherwise, even if his castle is upgraded to a town and his barracks are upgraded to level 3, he will not be able to sustain the sacred domain monster of the Black Light Golden Eagle. There is also Beast Tide Impact. As the first life and death elimination match, it shouldn't be too easy. This is why Li Yuan is eager to deal with the Goblin tribe. Dealing with them is more cost-effective than ordinary monster farming. You can only get a small amount of energy points by killing ordinary beasts. The rest is basically to get food, and you have to go to the trading square to exchange for other resources. By killing the Goblin tribe, you can get more energy points, and you can also get the 500 energy stones and collect weapons and equipment. If his strength allowed, Li Yuan even wanted to eat the werewolf tribe in one bite. After killing the Goblin tribe and digesting these resources, I wonder if I can have the strength to take over the werewolf tribe. While Li Yuan was pondering, the friend chat box flashed, and it was the message from the little fairy overlord. When I opened it, I saw a crying face. Li Yuan. Little fairy overlord. The shadow is so big, can you give me more food every day? Li Yuan. Little fairy overlord. The dwarf uncle just brought me 50 more wandering dwarves. Li Yuan. At this moment, the word was stuck in Li Yuan's throat. It doesn't matter if the local forces take the initiative to vote once, this is the second time. Does the little fairy have the attributes to attract local forces to join them? Little fairy overlord. I will reward Haiying Da. I have more people here and more work. Now that there are 50 more dwarves, my daily production of iron essence here can definitely reach 400 units. Little fairy overlord. Please, brother Black Shadow, it seems like no one can afford to support me except you. Fairy overlord. By the way, the castle was upgraded today and I recruited a blacksmith dwarf uncle. I can also make weapons for you in the future. Little fairy overlord. Are you okay, brother Black Shadow, are you okay? Li Yuan fell into deep thought while looking at the messages that kept coming in the chat box. It can continuously provide iron essence and build weapons and equipment. It seems that this little fairy is really worth investing in, and the rate of return is also very good. After thinking about it, Li Yuan replied, I can provide you with enough food, but I have a condition. Fairy overlord. What conditions? Promise yourself. This can't be done, she is still a young girl. Li Yuan ignored the little fairy's naughtiness and returned. All the iron spirits and equipment you have in the future cannot be given to others and can only be traded with me. This time, the little fairy was silent for a long time, seeming to be hesitating and considering. Half a minute passed and the little fairy finally replied. Little fairy overlord. Dark Shadow, please don't let my territory become yours. Li Yuan's expression was slightly startled when he saw this news. He knows very well about territoriality, and it was mentioned in the announcement in the World Chat channel. Countless overlords are relatively independent, but they can form alliances through contracts or become each other's territory. The alliance is reciprocal, and overlords help each other according to the terms of the contract. And if you belong to the earth, you surrender to the other party. The difference between the territories is the main city and the secondary city. The territory equivalent to the secondary city belongs to the main city. After the contract is reached, you cannot go back on it, otherwise the city will be destroyed and people will die. The little fairy overlord didn't mention forming an alliance, but directly said that she wanted to become his territory. How could Li Yuan not be surprised? Once the little fairy's territory becomes the territory of the Black Shadow territory, she will lose the opportunity to compete for the war continent. Everything in the territory will become a subsidiary of Li Yuan. Including the military units, although they are still recruited by the little fairy, they must first listen to Li Yuan's orders and then listen to her. Little fairy overlord. Isn't Sombra reluctant? Also, your territory is so powerful, how could you possibly care about a territory like mine? Is it necessary to take possession of the territory now? It stands to reason that it will be necessary to recruit territories only after the battle for hegemony among overlords officially begins. Not only can the territory be expanded, but also the types of troops can be expanded. Right now, we haven't even left the novice village yet, which is a bit too advanced. But think about it carefully, after signing the territorial contract, everything owned by the little fairy overlord will be his. No matter how you look at it, he will not lose anything. Li Yuan weighed it in his mind for a long time and returned. If you are really willing, then initiate a territorial contract. The little fairy didn't reply to any other messages, but directly sent a signed contract. Very decisive. Li Yuan looked at the terms of the contract and found that they were all standard. To sum up, he is the king and the subjects are ministers, and the subjects obey his orders unconditionally. If the territory is attacked or destroyed, Li Yuan can choose to rush to the rescue or choose to ignore it without suffering any losses. If it is an alliance treaty, the specific content will be written by yourself, and both parties will have restrictions. Li Yuan stared at the contract and thought about it for a while before signing his name on the contract. As soon as the name dropped, a prompt box appeared in front of Li Yuan. Black Shadow Overlord, you successfully recruited a territory and got a chance to draw divine ability skills. Closing square bracket. Would you like to perform the extraction immediately? Closing square bracket. Seeing this, Li Yuan couldn't help but be ecstatic. Unexpectedly, by inexplicably collecting a piece of land, I would be able to get a chance to draw the divine ability skill. This earthly harvest is not a loss in this wave alone, it is really not a loss. You know, this is an opportunity only available when the castle is upgraded. Li Yuan was about to draw the divine ability skill, but the little fairy sent him another message at this time. Little fairy overlord. Dark Shadow, can you bring me some food now? They called for lunch. Li Yuan, I will give you 600 units first, and I will transfer 300 units to you later. Is that enough? Little fairy overlord. Enough is enough, thank you Sombra. I will transfer all the fine iron to you right now. After a while, there were 215 units of refined iron in Li Yuan's warehouse, which was 15 units more than what was mentioned yesterday. These are all the iron spirits in the Fairy Overlord warehouse. As a member of the Black Shadow territory, Li Yuan can see all the opponent's information. Lord Overlord, Mo Shanshan. Strength, Rank 2. Territory level, Middle level castle. Weapon type, Mountain Dwarf. Buildings, Warehouse, Dwarven Crystal, Furnace. Equipment, none. Energy Stone, 62. Origin Crystal, 1. In addition, the warehouse is basically made of stone, with more than 2,000 units. There are also the hundreds of units of food that Li Yuan just transferred to her, and there are also some colorful stones and the like. 6 dwarves were recruited, and 138 local dwarves took refuge. In terms of quantity, Li Yuan knew it, but what surprised him was the loyalty of these dwarves. The 6 recruited dwarves have 99% loyalty. And the loyalty of the local dwarves who took refuge was actually over 80%, and many of them were over 90%. Little fairy Mo Shanshan, how did she do it? Magic. The only pity is that there are no strong ones among these mountain dwarves. Most of them are rank 4, and there are quite a few rank 1s among them. But overall, the strength of the little fairy territory is not bad, definitely surpassing 90% of the overlords. In terms of the number of people alone, it goes without saying that we deserve to be number 1. Li Yuan, by the way, do you know where your territory is? Since the other party has become his territory and belongs to him, Li Yuan feels that it is still necessary to get to know him. If the two parties are relatively close, it will be easier to take care of them. Although the opponent's strength is not weak, it is not much stronger. If Nia passes by, without a protective barrier, he can kill them all. Fairy Overlord. I heard from those wandering dwarves that this place is called Amogobi, and it seems to be in some Andir estate. I had never heard of Amogobi, and Gilton had never mentioned such a place nearby. But being in the same continent, that shouldn't be too far. Li Yuan. Then ask them if they have heard of Crimson Moon Forest. Fairy Overlord. Okay, let me ask. Little Fairy Overlord. I asked, and she said it's not far from my place, just across the Tagan Plain. Black Shadow, are you in Crimson Moon Forest? Li Yuan. Well, I'll come see you when I get the chance. It doesn't matter if his position is revealed now. The little fairy is bound by the contract and will not and cannot harm him. Those dwarves are also extremely loyal and will not betray. Little Fairy Overlord. Okay, okay. Li Yuan. Let's do this for now. Let those dwarves work harder. I have enough food here. Fairy Overlord. Got it. Amo Gobi is a deserted Gobi desert. Stones can be seen everywhere, and green trees are rare. In a stone forest in the Gobi desert, there is a castle made entirely of stones. On the right side of the castle, there is a wide chimney more than 20 meters high, emitting billowing black smoke. In the castle, busy dwarves can be seen. Some were pushing large stones into the castle, and others were pushing and pulling blowers under a huge furnace, pouring ore into it. The sound of hey hey never stopped. At this moment, a little Lolita in a princess dress, about 15 or 16 years old, ran into the square in the yard. She is the owner of this castle territory, Mo Shanshan. Uncles, aunties, brothers and sisters, let me tell you some good news. Mo Shanshan waved his little fist and said excitedly, I found a long-term meal ticket for everyone. The long-term meal ticket says that as long as you work hard enough, you will have enough food. Everyone must work hard, we will definitely be able to live a happy life. If you live a good life, you will never be hungry again. Long live the little fairy overlord, long live the little fairy overlord. The mountain dwarves shouted loudly and worked even harder. Returning to the castle happily, Mo Shanshan looked at the bearded dwarf next to her who was shorter than her by 1.5 meters. This was the first dwarf soldier she recruited. Uncle Green, didn't you say you also saw a group of wandering mountain dwarves? Mo Shanshan blinked his big eyes and said, if you want to meet me again, please bring us back to the castle together. The dwarf named Green was silent for a while, and then said angrily, if the quantity is too much, our food. It's okay. Didn't I just say that I found a long-term meal ticket? Mo Shanshan said with a smile, Hai Ying is very powerful. No matter how many of us there are, he can still support us. Yes, Green replied, kneeling on one knee. After Green walked out of the castle, Mo Shanshan walked to the balcony, looked at the busy dwarves below, and couldn't help but laugh. She is an orphan. She grew up eating food from hundreds of families and understands the 4 words of self-improvement and self-reliance. When she first came to War Continent, she was scared and panicked, but now she is slowly getting used to it. But the fight for hegemony among all races was too far away from her. She just wanted to live well and be with these dwarves. Sombra Overlord looks very powerful at first glance, so he should be able to rely on him. Recalling the chat with Li Yuan, Mo Shanshan said to himself, will he be a bad man? By then, I, a delicate and weak woman, will have no choice but to obey, right? Li Yuan naturally didn't know that Mo Shanshan was thinking about how to face him when they meet in the future. Even, prepare yourself for the worst possible sacrifice. Obviously, Mo Shanshan has great confidence in him, and it is impossible for him to survive the attack of the beast tide in a few days. And she herself has confidence in the little fairy castle, because there are no wild beasts in the Amo desert, very few. This is why she lacks food. In addition, there are so many dwarves in the fairy castle, so there should be no need to fear the beast tide. After Li Yuan took care of the little fairy, he couldn't wait to start extracting divine ability skills. Extract divine ability skills immediately. Now that he has obtained the dragon talisman and the thunder and lightning magic energy, he doesn't know what it will be this time. Soon, a prompt box appeared in Li Yuan's field of vision. Congratulations to you, Shadow Overlord, you obtained the horse talisman in this draw. Closing square bracket. The prompt box disappeared, and a chirping pony jumped out of the void and instantly integrated into Li Yuan's body. Horse charm. Li Yuan was surprised and happy. He didn't expect that he would win the horse charm this time. Happiness came so suddenly, it was really an explosion of luck. Among all the 12 talismans, the horse talisman and the dog talisman were the 2 talismans he wanted to obtain most. Needless to say, the dog charm is immortality. The horse charm represents the ability to heal and repair, and to expel all injuries caused by external forces. Not just for the human body, horse charms can repair any broken item. Of course, what Li Yuan values most is the healing power of the horse talisman. Got the horse charm. As long as the opponent doesn't wipe out all his physical consciousness in an instant, he can quickly return to his most perfect state. To a certain extent, it is already considered immortal. However, there is a clear difference between the dog talisman, which provides eternal youth and immunity to all fatal attacks. The best situation is the combination of horse charm and dog charm. That is true immortality. Now that I have obtained the horse charm, will the dog charm be far behind? Li Yuan felt the extra power of the horse charm in his body and felt extremely happy. What an unexpected surprise. The little fairy's good luck seemed to have been passed on to him, and she was his lucky star. At this moment, Li Yuan raised his eyebrows. During the interaction between him and Nia, Nia seemed to have died once. Was it the goblins or the werewolves? The next moment, Nia's figure appeared in front of Li Yuan, already reborn and returned. After glancing at Nia, Li Yuan frowned and said, "What's going on?" To prevent Nia from escaping in time, the opponent's strength must be above rank 8. Both the goblin tribe and the werewolf tribe have such combat power. Nia bowed and said, "Reporting to my king, after the general investigated the werewolf tribe, he encountered a big battle on the way back. A blonde human wearing silver armor, riding a unicorn, is chasing a monster. The general wanted to take a look, but as soon as he got close, he was discovered by the human knight. He condensed the holy light into a sword and killed me with one sword. This person is very strong. Under his holy light, there is no shadow to hide from. However, this is because the general is too weak. If he were the sacred domain, he would kill like a dog." After listening to Nia's words, Li Yuan didn't speak for a long time. There were actually native humans nearby. The reason why he was determined to be a native human was that no matter how fast the other overlords upgraded in the past 3 days, they would not be able to kill Nia with one sword. Silver armor, unicorn, could it be the Knight of Holy Light? In the announcement on the World Chat channel, there is a description of a character dressed in a similar way. They are a human force from a holy court, spread across the 7 continents of the War Continent, and are one of the top organizations in the continent. Every knight of the Holy Court claims to be the pioneer of the Holy Light and wants to purify all the darkness in the world. Thinking of this, Li Yuan asked again, how do you think his strength compares to that black-crested golden eagle? Judging from the momentum and pressure, it is even stronger than the black-crowned golden eagle. Nia compared it and then replied. Li Yuan nodded. It seemed that the other party was the Holy Light Knight of the Holy Court. Knight of Holy Light is the honorific title for the strong ones in the sacred domain in the Holy Court, and under the sacred domain, they can only be called Knights of Glory. The other party is probably passing by and will not pose a threat to me. Li Yuan was silent for a while, thinking this in his mind. According to Nia, this Holy Light Knight was chasing the world of Warcraft, and Nia's death was purely a result of curiosity that killed the cat. If he didn't take the initiative to get involved, nothing would happen and he would be seeking his own death. Li Yuan suppressed the matter for the time being, returned to business, and asked, tell me about the situation you found out. Nia nodded and quickly explained in detail what he had gained from the trip. The situation of the Goblin tribe is roughly the same as what Gilton said. The total number is nearly 1,900, headed by a rank 9 warrior and a rank 8 magician. When Nia went there, the Goblin tribe was having a meeting. The content of the meeting was about the fate of Gilton's 2 teams and their failure to return. There is no return, either to be captured or to be annihilated. There were goblins who wanted to come back to the castle to investigate, and there were goblins who didn't want to mess with them, and the argument came to nothing in the end. It doesn't matter whether he comes or not, Li Yuan will visit the Goblin tribe's lair sooner or later. The werewolf tribe is indeed very strong. There are 3 rank 9s, one of which has a strong aura and should be the semi-saint that Gilton mentioned. But what Gilton didn't know was that there was an altar inside the werewolf tribe. In the middle of the altar, there is a wolf head withered bones, exuding an aura of chaos and violence. Since the semi-saint werewolf was guarding the altar, Nia did not dare to get too close. He just took a few glances and retreated. Pay more attention to the movements of the Goblin tribe. The werewolf tribe, if they don't come to provoke us, just leave them alone. Again, pick the soft persimmon and pinch it. The werewolf tribe gave Li Yuan the feeling of being a little dangerous and mysterious. At this time, in the north of Crimson Moon Forest, a figure shrouded in dazzling holy light stood proudly in the void. The silver armor shone brightly, and under the seat was a white horse with a single horn. With a fair and handsome face, blue pupils, and long golden hair hanging down his shoulders, the whole person was calm and powerful. It was the Holy Light Knight who hunted down the monsters, as Nia said. There were large blood stains on the ground, left by the monster he was chasing. A sacred domain blood-eyed demon ape corpse and a baby can be exchanged for at least 2 baptisms of holy light, which will elevate my king's strength to a new level. What a shame for escaping into Crimson Moon Forest. The Holy Light Knight seemed a little unwilling, but looking at the Crimson Moon Forest in front of him, there was deep fear in his eyes. In the end, the Holy Light Knight chose to turn around and leave. Even if the blood-eyed demon ape had been fatally attacked by him and would die soon, he would not dare to enter Crimson Moon Forest to pick up the body. The Holy Light Knight rode the unicorn and rose into the sky in the blink of an eye. Just as he was about to escape into the air, the Holy Light Knight suddenly frowned slightly and looked towards the southern outskirts of Crimson Moon Forest. At the edge of Crimson Moon Forest, he saw a towering castle. I hope everyone will support it and subscribe more.